The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Join us at East Coast Wings and Grill. Enjoy 75 tasty flavors of buffalo wings, fresh salads, burgers, and a variety of delicious dishes. Experience a family-friendly atmosphere you can't get anywhere else. Fresh, family, fun.
Do you have a need for speed? Like this 2017 Mustang GT or this 2013 Corvette, both with 450 horsepower. Shop online at jerryhuntsupercenter.com. We buy more, we sell more, you save more.
Hudson Auto Works is conveniently located off of Highway 29, 812 Post Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. Our beautiful 15,000 square feet facility is home to 21 highly trained professionals offering used car sales, collision repair, automotive detailing, and the best customer service you won't find anywhere else. Visit us at www.hudsonautoworks.com or call us at 336-772-0685.
Get your business noticed with quality vinyl vehicle wraps from Roof Sign Service. Roof Sign Service has been providing truck lettering and quality printed vehicle graphics for over 50 years. Now they offer premium digital printing wraps for all types of vehicles. Add a new element of energy to your company's image. Get more mileage out of your business-to-business advertising by wrapping your vehicle into a moving billboard from Roof Sign Service. Roof Sign Service in Greensboro, where you can get wrapped and get noticed.
The Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Series begins competition tonight with their season opener at the South Boston Speedway. It's the Pitwall Podcast 110, 2 races and 1 great night, starting off with our street stocks and leading in to the late models. As it stands, it looks like qualifying going to be on the way, 20 minutes on the timer. Surely we won't have to use each and every second, but as you can see, drivers already on the move, getting ready for the first races of the championship. Great to have you all tonight here on Roosters Broadcasting. For the first time, I'm here alongside our usual producer and Cody Demers. I'm David Kreutz. Great to be with you from the FTN side. Collaboration between FTN and Roosters as we make it happen here on the Sunday Night Swing. Drivers already going to be on the move. Right now, you're watching Blake Thronberg as he tries to take the throne and capture the pole position, making it through 3 and 4 that time through. Now, onto his first time lap. It's going to put him to the pole position, 15.938, and it looks like from there on out, drivers such as Aaron Stoltz now taking the track, Blake the first of which, and he's got the advantage right now, sponsored by SRX. He'll take it down for yet another lap. Now it looks like it's Austin Purnell who just got on the track, same with Cody Pace, Chase Murphy there too, as Blake backs it down to pit road. That will be the end of his run here in qualifying. 22 going to be done, and as we look around Chase Murphy now on the way. In the Bill Elliott throwback, number 13, it's the Coors Machine, down through 3 and 4, on the way for a qualifying run of his own. Let's see what Chase can do as he begins his qualifying effort as well. Chase Murphy now going to be on the move, attacking the pavement, coming through 2, now down to the backstretch, and the number 13 on the way as almost half the field now on track for qualifying. You would see Austin Purnell, Aaron Stoltz, Drew Cox, and it looks like Drew gonna wait just a bit and go back down to pit road. Now gonna be the number 3 machine. We got multiple 3s in the field tonight. Keep an eye out for that. One of which right now going across your screen. That's gonna be Dave Bishiner. And now the number 3 machine washes up high. He'll be scored 3rd in qualifying with more drivers coming through. 8 drivers have taken timed laps. 18 drivers qualify on speed with 2 provisionals to be given out if necessary. We will see whether or not they will be used. Michael Harden hoping not to use one. He's 7th on the board as is. Only 1/10 of a second away from the pole. So now the 77's done. Take a look at the number 15 machine of Boo Boo Dalton. Now he'll be on the way, and he's looking to put down his first qualifying lap, and that he does. 16-second lap, a 16.387 puts him into 15th. So a ways to go right now to get off the bubble, because we still have more than 5 drivers to go here. Definitely going to be a race to get inside the top 20. 17 drivers now have taken the time. Going back to Jeffrey Wood. Wood finds himself in the 17th, now 18th spot as Ethan Johnson goes up to 17th. On the track right now, Jackson Sparks in number 7. So is Ethan Johnson. And Johnson right now looking to get back on the move in his own right. Looks like Michael Harden now going to be classified as drivers on the circuit. And as they go through 1 and 2 once again, looks like we lost a frame. As you can see now, number 16 machine parks it. And it looks like now the triple-digit thread of the 804 is on the way. So keep an eye out. 19 drivers taking times. Jackson Spark, the first man out of qualifying, who'll be bumped as is. And it looks like that might just be the case, as it looks like the 16 of Speedy Bird not taking the time. He is one of the 2 provisionals, and it looks like he will be using a provisional the way things are going. James Curl going to be on pit road. Brandon Kiger now going to be back on the way. And exiting corner number 2, Kiger trying to put up a good lap to keep himself outside of the bubble picture. Coming out of corner number 4 this time by, it's Brandon Kiger, and Kiger puts it up into position number 9. So Brandon Kiger now going to be inside the top 10, firmly within the range of those advancing to the main event. 35 laps, and it looks like Scooter going to be done once again. Only 2 drivers have not taken at least 1 lap in Kyle Klingenpeel and Jonathan Hall. So as it stands, Brandon Kiger going to be scored in 9th. And James Curl jumped up to 2nd on the board in his number 51. How about that for Curl? He gets off the track immediately thereafter. And now, 22 drivers have taken the circuit, none of which are on the racetrack. Caleb Hall, one of those still not on the circuit. Scooter, in the 804, not on track either. And as it stands, Kyle Klingenpeel, Jonathan Hall, and Scooter all automatically set to not qualify, Scooter being one of those who put 3 laps down without any verified time. And as it stands, 22 drivers have taken a time. Speedy Bird, one of those with a provisional, is outside the bubble, so he will be added as a starter automatically. 18 drivers, going back to Chase Murphy, have a time in. Ethan Johnson, just outside the bubble in 19th, also is a provisional driver. 20-car field with our 2 season-long provisionals rounding out the tour. As it stands right now, Jackson Sparks and Jonathan Hall will be going home, so will Scooter. And just like that, 14 minutes left on the qualifying charts, and we've got a lot of time to kill here, so we'll see whether or not we can get an interview with our provisional pole sitter, the driver being the number 14 of Caleb Hall. We're going to try to get a word with him right now, as it looks like I'm not able to drag him around at the moment, but Caleb Hall is our provisional pole sitter. We'll see whether or not we can get an interview out of him during this session. It looks like we will. Provisional pole sitter Caleb Hall with us in the broadcast booth here. How about this to start off the season? Looks pretty good for you to start at least in the front row.
Yeah, looks pretty good. I know they just advanced the session, so we'll be the pole sitter with Curl to our outside. I'll probably just try to get a decent start, and me and Curl hopefully just ride and see what the race brings us. I feel like with how loose it is on entry to start, we might see a few wrecks to start off with, but as we get some heat cycles, we should start to feel into our own and hopefully get racy and just get tuned up for the big show for the late model race. That's what we're really here for.
And that's the magic, of course, of short track racing, close quarters, and these street stocks, they can give some good racing here at South Boston. You think we'll get more long runs to get this street stock race through, or are we going to see a few wrecks?
I feel like we're going to do a whole lot of pacing. It's just a tad too free to start off with on entry. And now if people ride with their heads on, like actually screwed on correctly, we'll be fine. But you're going to have to baby it for a little bit. I mean, this is how it's going to have to be. If not, you're going to find yourself in trouble very quickly.
And hoping to stay out of trouble, one faster pair for this event. Caution laps don't count, so there's at least a chance to get yourself back settled in. In the case something happens, how confident are you in your pace to get back up there?
My pace, I think I would be able to get back up there. It's just a matter of the cautions and how the other drivers are, because most of the people I've never raced with before on the sim. So I mean, there's a handful of them that I have, but throughout the season I have to learn on who everyone is and how everyone works. But other than that, I have no experience with these guys. But if they race with their heads on their shoulders and I do have to come from the back, then I feel like I would be able to do it. But it just all depends on how all the other cards fall, and that's really all it falls down to.
There we have it. Now on the front row of the grid on the screens of the viewers, Caleb Hall, the number 14. Looks like he just left the voice chat there. We thank him for his time. As the starting grid for your street stock race is now on your screen. That's Caleb Hall in first with James Curl in second, Blake Thronberg in third, and Booba Dalton there in fourth. Then it's going to be Cody Pace in fifth and Jeremy Ashby in sixth. Jeremy Beauchamp is going to be in seventh and Austin Purnell is going to be in eighth. Got Dave Bichener ninth and then Brandon Kiger in 10th, and the 11th position immediately thereafter, Dalton Ledbetter. Michael Harden going to be 12th with Josh Brackett in 13th. Trent Smith going to be 14th with Drew Docks rounding out your top 15, and Brian Rose is 16th with Aaron Stoltz 17th. Chase Murphy's 18th, and it will be Ethan Johnson 19th with Jeffrey Rood 20th, and of course, Jackson Sparks, the first man out. And thanks to provisionals, Speedy Bird, who qualified in 22nd, is your final driver on the field of 20. And just like that, the field is set for the first race of the season. The Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Series gets its start in South Boston. Caleb Hall, feeling confident about his number 14 machine, looking to haul in a boatload of points and come home with his first victory in his very first race. Pace car is going to be in for the first time this season. Let's get to it here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. The street stocks have hit the green flag. As they come through turns 1 and 2 cleanly, the race is on its way. Caleb Hall going to be out in front, further on back, battling all throughout the field. 1, 2, 3, single file. Then from there you got Cody Pace and a spin. Yellow flag, Josh Brackett and Michael Harden. Immediately the caution will fly, and we are under yellow. 2 laps into the season. Looks like Josh Brackett involved indeed, and now Chase Murphy caught up as well. Murphy involved. He'll fall to the back of the field and will need an immediate instant replay on the situation at hand. You can see the 13 of Murphy up high, the 54 of Aaron Stoltz down low, and as they came around that time through, you see side-by-side action, and it looks like they got caught up in an incident right in front of them, and piling into a multi-car spin. Murphy involved. You can see the drivers outside of that frame getting away from it. Chase Murphy was one of those who piled in 3 laps already. We've got some trouble on the track. So with that in mind, now we see the caution flag at 4 laps into the 35. It looks like caution laps are counting here, and it looks like that's going to keep them going despite the caution being out. 4 laps into the 35, we went yellow flag at lap 3, so we push one more through, and Caleb Hall leads James Curl. Chase Murphy's got damage. However, thankfully for him, he does have one more chance to get that all repaired, and he'll have that one faster pair with him for the entirety of this race. And just like that, the Pitwall Podcast 110 under the first caution flag of the day. Caleb Hall going to be leading James Curl, and they're side by side already 5 laps through out of 35. The pace car looks to be going off this time by, meaning the moment they come after the start-finish line once again, it should be good to clear, and that it is. Pace lights are off here on Rooster Broadcasting as we get the season started. If you enjoy the racing, be sure to stick with us here on this channel. Much more to come. I'm David Kreutz of FTN alongside Cody Deemish tonight, and we're sure to bring you all the action every Sunday night of this season, street stocks and late models along the way. Caleb Hall looks to bring back the action out in front, and the green flag will fly once again as the double file racing gets back into form. First restart of the season, led by the 14. Caleb Hall able to get that clear off of corner number 2. Now Blake Thronberg going to be fighting side by side, and he'll get lifted up the track into the 84 of Cody Pace. They stay double file coming off a corner. Looks like Thronberg's got the edge. Now they'll be side by side once again right behind him. That's Cody Pace and Boo Boo Dalton going at it, and the 38 machine just behind of Austin Purnell putting something on Jeremy Ashby. Double file, the 50 machine still there with the number 84 as they come across the stripe once again. Still no give, no take, but the leaders are now bumper to bumper. Caleb Hall going to be up in front, but James Curl going to make a move down low. Side by side, the 85 is 2 with the number 3, and the lead battle is side by side as well. Caleb Hall fending off your man in second. It's now going to be dead even. Looks like James Curl's got a shot down low, and he will take it. Rubbing bumpers, the 51 tries to make a move, and 10 laps in. Now, James Curl has himself the lead at the stripe, moving the 14 up to the high side. Going to be much trickier to run that inoptimal lane. More distance covered, less grip on the surface, and Blake Thronberg's now putting himself in it as Jeremy Beauchamp has trouble. 11 laps in, no caution gonna fly, but Beauchamp gonna lose a lot of time in that one. Looks like that's gonna be off the radar. The leaders though are still battling, and just like that, James Curl has taken the lead with Blake Thronberg now in second. Boo Boo Dalton gonna be there in third, and Caleb Hall going to be in fourth. Only 3 drivers have taken it down a pit road already. Rest of your field on the original set of tire, and right now it looks like the number 51 set up much better for the long run, as we can see 00 machine going right down to the bottom on Cody Pace. 13 laps in, the field continues to get separate, and now working down low on the driver of that number 27. Ethan Johnson's got himself a rear view mirror full of Chase Murphy. Murphy going to be up high, still trying to battle. You can see the 27's got major damage, and it looks like it's going to be worse lap after lap. No front end there, but still battling hard. Ethan Johnson is, as he's got the number 4 machine now behind him as well. And it looks like the 54 up to the high side. That's going to be Aaron Stoltz, and now being passed by the majority of the field. The 54 is in big trouble. 16 laps in, driver in the wall once again. They make it by. That looks to be another number 3 machine, as it looks like now further trouble for the 3s. One down to the bottom of the track, and the 85 machine due to pass them. That's Brandon Kiger, as Brian Rose loses more spots on the bottom side, and Rose now fades back to 16th. 1 lap down. 17 laps in, about the halfway mark of this race, and you can see James Curl getting pressured. Blake Thronberg now on that back bumper, tries to make the lunge in, cannot stick it for a position, but he's certainly closer, making the statement than anyone else has been all night long to passing that number 51. Now Blake Thronberg working off the backside as Chase Murphy is on pit road. Another driver in trouble. We stay green, and the racing is still on. Curl's got the advantage. Then behind him, Blake Thronberg still right there about a car length adrift. You got Boo Boo Dalton, and you even got Caleb Hall in fourth. As you look on back, drivers like Jeremy Ashby in the second pack are still driving as hard as they can, but they are not close enough as they're beating and banging in the first pack. 20 laps in, this time by Make it 15 laps to go, and it already looks like the number 22's got a great opportunity to come home with the checker. He's just got to make that perfect move on Curl, who's been impossible to get by. The defensive maneuvers have been perfect, and the 51 maintains his advantage. And all the same, going through, brake rotors are glowing. Everyone pushing as hard as they can. Make it this time by only a total of 14 laps remaining, and back to the bumper. The number 22 goes once more. Thronberg tries to make it stick once again. Cannot make it work. He lifts him once, tries to lift him twice. Does not work. He'll have to go for it once again. Now Caleb Hall slides down to the third spot. They're side by side going at it all over again. 14 Machine tries to use Ethan Johnson as a pick. That he does. Now running him up the track. James Curl goes up to the high side, saves it, but we got a new race leader, and that race leader is Blake Thronberg. Look who's now back in the picture, sliding down from third to second. Caleb Hall's now back in the podium, and he's fiercely charging to try to claim the lead once again. Thronberg's got the advantage. The number 50 Machine of Boo Boo Dalton's now got third. Looks like James Curl's fading back more and more, and now, just when we thought Caleb Hall was out of it, he's back once again, looking to claim that lead, diving down to the bottom, risking it for the first time. He lifts the number 22 right up, and now there's a chance for Hall to get it once again. Caleb dives down to the bottom once more. He's getting lifted by Boo Boo Dalton and gets lifted up the track. So does the Caleb Johnson Machine go, and it looks like it's going to be multiple cars involved. That's the 22 Machine of Blake Thronberg. Messed up big, and two leaders fall out of contention. We stay green. James Curl, Boo Boo Dalton, they're out in front, still racing. 27 laps in, the 51's got the lead once again. Patience has worked in the favor of the 51. He let the leaders wreck ahead of him, and now he's got the spot back. But for Boo Boo Dalton, he's been the only driver of the Big Four to not touch the lead all night long. Is this the opportunity he needs to take home the win? Or will the 51 be able to just barely pull away? He's still bumper to bumper as they come across the line. Make it lap 29, and the Pitwall Podcast 110 season electric opening to the season. Two drivers going for the lead with only a few laps remaining on the board. The 51 still has the edge as they come across the stripe once more, 30 laps in, but Dalton dives down low, and the 50's got a shot to take it deep, and that he does. Now they're side by side. Advantage going to be Boo Boo Dalton as they come through once again. You could see the battles, including Cody Pace and Austin Purnell, but we'll keep it with the lead here as the leaders come by. It's Boo Boo Dalton out in front, 30 laps in, make it 31. 5 laps to go. This time by, the 50's got the edge. The 51 wants the spot as they come through once again. Lap number 32, there's lap machines right ahead. Chase Murphy, one of which, and right behind him, he is already. Murphy dives down low. The 16 Machine of Speedy Bird goes there too. And now, the number 50 still has himself hands full. James Curl still in frame, and it could still be a pass for the lead, but he's got to be perfect. James Curl lost a lot of time through the lappers, 0.3 of a second the deficit as they come by the lap machines. You can see drivers such as Blake Thronberg trying to make it by, and as the leaders come through once again, make it 2 laps to go this time around as Boo Boo Dalton's got the edge, and just behind, the caution comes out, and this race will be extended for a green-white checkered finish. And it looks like the reason is the number 16 of Speedy. Caution will fly for the second time. Is this the race? It doesn't look like it is. And you can see, in addition, Brandon Tiger loses time. We'll have to take an instant replay and find out what led to this incident. Just before we hit the white flag, the race gets extended. We are not done. Tiger involved with Speedy there. They took each other down to the bottom of the racetrack, and that leads to trouble. You can see Blake Thronberg able to get away there, and just like that, 35 laps in, they are back going. Looks like they're still going to be racing it as they come around once again. Blake Thronberg, you can see from his perspective, looking at that incident and getting away, now back in pacing. And after over 35 laps of action, we head to overtime for the first time tonight. It's Boo Boo Dalton out and ahead, but the worst thing for him is, of course, getting this extension of the race. Only 2 laps to get it done. And for James Curl, it's his saving grace. He lost a lot of time with the lap machines ahead of him. Now he's being given an opportunity to reclaim the position and put himself back in frame with the top drivers in this battle. You can see the number 14 machine of Caleb Hall 3 laps down, still with them. Whether or not he's got anything to say about the battle, it'll show with his driving, as he's still right with your leaders, just a few positions behind. The 50 of Boo Boo Dalton will lead him down once again. Caution flag still waves high, but this time through, it will be only 2 laps to green. That's going to be Dalton Ledbetter down on pit rows. The 14 of Caleb Hall is going to be put to the end of the line. And it looks like Ledbetter now back on the way, 1 lap down. He's going to go back to lead lap and get that time back. It's the 50 out in front for Hudson Auto Works, looking to work together with his drivers behind him and put himself on top for the first time tonight. The race will be extended to what appears to be lap number 41 as they come around this time by. That it will be. Now, 1 lap to green, 2 lap shootout. If we get to the white flag, the race is official and it will be concluded the moment the checkered flag falls, whether it is under yellow or when the drivers take the checkered flag at full speed. Boo Boo Dalton's got the advantage for now, but can he hold on for 2 more laps of action? That remains to be seen. Overtime finish here in South Boston. Let's get the first race of the season under and over with. Dalton going to be able to push himself through with a nice advantage out in front. Now Jeremy Ashby's going to have that second spot as the 50 takes it deep. And now Ashby's got a chance to work on James Curl one final time. The white flag's out here in South Boston, and the street stocks will come to a close no matter how they finish it. James Curl still getting up high. He's got Ashby working him down on the bottom. They lunge it deep, but at this point there's no choice but to watch. For the first race of the season, Boo Boo Dalton comes home and finds himself a place in victory lane, taking the stock car feature here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. The number 50 wins in a thrilling overtime finish. And Dalton gets it done as he comes around to burn it down. Boo Boo Dalton wins over James Curl, with Jeremy Ashby in the 3rd spot, Cody Pace in 4th, Austin Purnell in 5th, and Trent Smith 6th. Then going to be Drew Cox in 7th and Dalton Ledbetter in 8th. Aaron Stoltz 9th and Blake Thronberg in 10th. As from the 11th spot on back, you'll see Jeremy Beauchamp, the final man of the lead lap, with Dave Beschenner 12th, Brian Rose 13th, Brandon Kiger in 14th, and Michael Harden in 15th. Speedy Bird going to be 16th, with Caleb Hall 17th, Ethan Johnson's 18th, and Chase Murphy is 19th, with Josh Brackett rounding out the field. 20 laps down, did not qualify. Jeffrey Wood, Jackson Sparks, your race control, and Kyle Klingenpeel, Jonathan Hall, and Scooter. And taking a celebratory victory lap around the track, number 50 machine of Boo Boo Dalton gets it done for the first race of the season, and he's still celebrating this win, as it looks like he's not yet in any voice chat. We will get all your podium finishers before we move on to the late model event of tonight. 75 laps for the second race of the day, and the 50 coming down to victory lane. And before we get to your top 3 finishers, we will be right back after a brief promotional break here on Roosters Broadcasting, the first race of the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Series. Fantastic. We'll be back with just a bit more from this race and then our late model feature.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hudson Auto Works is conveniently located off of Highway 29, 812 Post Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. Our beautiful 15,000 square feet facility is home to 21 highly trained professionals offering used car sales, collision repair, automotive detailing, and the best customer service you won't find anywhere else. Visit us at www.hudsonautoworks.com or call us at 336-772-0685.
And after a fantastic opener of the season here in South Boston, our top 3 interviews begin with a man who finished in 3rd place. Jeremy Ashby, diving deep on that restart, looking for everything he could take, comes home 3rd here in the Street Stock event in South Boston. What a way to start the season, and your first interview from the podium. How was it out there up in front?
Yeah, I really wasn't all that confident in this race. I was struggling being tight off really the whole time. Just couldn't really seem to find any speed. But a couple of guys in front of me wrecked, and we ended up falling into 3rd, getting lucky on a late restart.
And the final restart, definitely a game changer there at the end of the race, able to sort of put yourself in a position to even go for the win there. How confident were you in that sort of aggression working out? No wrecks up in front, everything was kept clean, but it was tight racing. Certainly exciting to watch from our perspective. I'm not sure how you felt.
Yeah, I was really just hoping to keep 3rd and just stay in the podium.
And that's exactly what we were able to do there, able to get into the podium and keep it there to open up the night. Now, I'll tell you this much, late model race coming up, that's the main feature. How are you feeling about the track going into that one?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little more confident about the late model race than I am the street stock. I practice those a little more often than I do these things. But hoping we can put it at least in the top 5.
And keeping the consistency up is the goal for our 3rd place finisher. Jeremy Ashby rounds out the podium tonight as our first interview from the podium circle. Any final thoughts before we move on to our 2nd race?
I just hope to keep the car clean, keep it in the front.
And there we have it. Jeremy Ashby keeping the car clean is the end goal as he finishes the first race of the season in the 3rd position here in the street stocks. Now, from our 3rd place finisher to our 2nd, the number 51 machine of James Curl, involved with the leading battle from the jump, finishes in the runner-up spot after 42 laps. How was it out there?
It was a little rough, I'd have to say. I guess if you're in the way, you're going to get rid of it out of the way. But other than that, it was pretty fun. It's my first time back racing a race in quite a few months. So I'm happy with top 3.
And the 51 showed a lot of speed out there up in front, battling with the best of them, able to make the nice move to get out of the way from what was a major wreck up in front. And all things considered, able to put yourself in a good spot to compete till the end. So for you, what was the most important factor of that run?
Initially, it was just getting up front and getting single file. When you start on the outside, especially with street stocks, it's really hard to maintain yourself on the outside. I was lucky enough to be able to hold off on the outside for 2 laps on the green-white checker to stay in 2nd. But the initial restart, it was really important to be able to get down, and as well as the 2nd restart that we had like 2 laps into the race.
And putting everything that needs to be done into motion keeps you up there on the podium to start the season. Asked the question most recently to our 3rd place finisher, but everyone knows main feature, the longest feature, the late models. Up next, do you think you'll have the same competitive speed?
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably a lot better off in the late models as it is. So looking forward to it. Hopefully we can come up a little bit better number 1 this time.
And chasing 1 spot more, James Curl looking to go after victory lane as he comes home 2nd here in the street stocks. Any thoughts to wrap it off?
Just thanks, Ross, for putting on this league. It was a pretty clean race for the most part, only 3 cautions and 35 laps, so I think that's pretty good.
And there we have it, James Curl, your 2nd place finisher tonight in the street stock race in South Boston. We'll bring him back to his voice chat as we get your race winner for tonight's street stock race. The number 50 outlasts all the competition, takes it home in an overtime finish. It's Ross Dalton, the number 50 machine, with us here after a tremendous season opener for you, winning in the first race of the tour.
Yeah, man, what an awesome race. That was so much fun.
And able to make it happen outlasting the toughest of competitors there. The overtime finish must have been dicey, but you pulled away quite nicely to keep that advantage and find yourself in victory lane to open up the season and tonight. Looked like you had speed all around. How was it up there battling for the win?
It was much better up there than it was deep in the field, man. I'm glad that I had a good qualifying spot. We was nose to tail right there, the 22 to 14, me and the 51. We was about the closest I believe you could get, and Caleb I ran off in there, and Caleb was under the 22, and he kind of touched 22, tried to check up to stay off of him. Then I was there, got him back into him. Then the 51 tagged me just a little bit, and it was a little accordion effect, but that's how South Boston goes, man. It's rough. It's a dogfight. You don't ever know how it's going to end, and luckily I was able to maintain tire enough to keep it out front and have a good run. Awesome start to the year. Really looking forward to this league kicking off. As you can tell, it's got a tremendous response so far, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to the late model race coming up.
And that's the big thing on everyone's mind. The late model race next up on the tour. And the thing is, we've seen South Boston already once tonight. What can you take away from this race and bring to the next?
Man, the biggest thing with this league race and stuff, man, you got to learn how you can race around people. And especially when everybody's as tight as we are. I mean, qualifying showed right there how tight the field really is. And you got to carry that over. You got to learn how to race around people and stuff like that. It don't matter what car you're in. You can learn how to race around people. And if you don't learn anything, that's one thing that you got to carry over to the late model race. It's a different car, different grip level, and different speed, different everything. But you learn the main line for the racetrack, and you can learn how to race around your competitors.
And tonight, racing around competitors quite well and taking home the first win of the season. Ross Dalton coming home with the checkered flag. Any final thoughts before we move on to the main feature?
I just got to say thank you to Rooster for doing the broadcast, Kyle for all that he's doing with the race control stuff. Got to give a huge shout out to all my sponsors: Hudson Auto Works, Copeman Farms, Ruth Signs, J. Dalton Auto Tech, Carolina Laser Cutting, Justin Brooks Designs for keeping my race cars on the game looking right, Tommy Watson Construction, all the guys got a hand in this thing: Jordan, Speedy, Blake, Kyle, everybody that's got Rooster, everybody that's got a hand in this thing. Thank you for what you're doing for us and keeping this thing looking professional and carrying on. And I think it's going to be a really good year.
And the best start for a really good year is a win on debut. Ross Dalton gets it done in the street stock race in South Boston. Looking forward to chasing it back to back in just a few moments' time. I'll tell you this much, the track's empty right now for South Boston. It won't stay that way. Give us just a moment. We're going to call another promotional break and bring us over to the main race and its session. Drivers are still loading into the super lates. Actually, not the super lates, the late model stocks at South Boston. There's 30 minutes of practice there. We'll be back momentarily and bring you more racing from America's hometown track.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Hudson Auto Works is conveniently located off of Highway 29, 812 Post Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. Our beautiful 15,000 square feet facility is home to 21 highly trained professionals offering used car sales, collision repair, automotive detailing, and the best customer service you won't find anywhere else. Visit us at www.hudsonautoworks.com or call us at 336-772-0685.
Join us at East Coast Wings and Grill. Enjoy 75 tasty flavors of buffalo wings, fresh salads, burgers, and a variety of delicious dishes. Experience a family-friendly atmosphere you can't get anywhere else. Fresh, family, fun.
Get your business noticed with quality vinyl vehicle wraps from Roost Sign Service. Roost Sign Service has been providing truck lettering and quality printed vehicle graphics for over 50 years. Now they offer premium digital printing wraps for all types of vehicles. Add a new element of energy to your company's image. Get more mileage out of your business-to-business advertising by wrapping your vehicle into a moving billboard from Roost Sign Service. Roost Sign Service in Greensboro, where you can get wrapped and get noticed.
And as we return from a fantastic race in the street stocks, now South Boston Speedway is occupied once again, but this time by the roar of the late model stocks. You'll see them on your screen right now. The fans still in the grandstands, and we hope you're still with us as well on Rooster's Broadcasting. If you're coming back or here for the first time tonight, great to have you along. I'm David Kreutz, your lead announcer for tonight's presentation, alongside our usual producer in Cody Deemers. It's an FTN Roosters Broadcasting collaboration night, and the race is sponsored by the Pitwall Podcast. This is the Pitwall Podcast 110, and after our scheduled 35-lap event, we did go a little bit more. We've got 75 scheduled laps coming to you live once again from South Boston. Drivers are still taking laps right now. We got 21 minutes of practice remaining, so we'll try to keep it action-packed for all y'all watching at home. You can see many drivers taking it around the circuit right now. The haulers are inside the infield, and pit road is filled. Drivers getting ready, and it looks like as it stands, 21 of which are already accustomed to the track with at least one timed lap. We've got ourselves a total of 25 drivers registered, going back to Jordan Blair in our race control, and Kyle Klingenpeel has taken a lap as well. He's the 21st and final entry with a time as we speak. As drivers go by, getting themselves set up, James Curl is once again one of the fastest drivers. The 51 finds himself first on speed right now. Caleb Hall is second, and Jeremy Ashby is in third. Familiar faces at the head of the field. Maybe someone can surprise them, but as it stands, looks to be mostly the same old, with the front runners at the top of the speed charts. 20 minutes remain on the board as we speak. Looks like now we've got ourselves more drivers taking laps. Speedy Bird taking his time, and it would put him in 22nd right now. And with 20 minutes, there's an awful lot of time to get ready for the 5-minute qualifying session that will come up immediately thereafter. Once again, qualifying format works as follows. 18 drivers are guaranteed in on time no matter what. However, in the case that Ethan Johnson and Speedy Bird both miss their qualifying time, they're outside the top 18, they're guaranteed a position regardless of their finish in qualifying. They will be put into the race no matter what. If they qualify 19th and 20th, so be it. They're there in the race regardless. 18 drivers are guaranteed in on time. If those two are within the top 18 range, they are put in as well. Right now, Ethan Johnson has 14th place speed. Speedy Bird's got 24th place speed, so we might see a field of 19 drivers tonight in the late models, as opposed to our maximum capacity of 20. 19 minutes remain on the board. You have the overhead shot still looking aboard South Boston Speedway. We'll bring it back to the TV cameras momentarily here as we get things set up behind the scenes for yet another action-packed race. Taking a look now at the 69 machine, and that would be Jeremy Beauchamp. He'll back it in to pit road in his Carolina machine, and it looks like right now limping across the circuit, taking it in, and it'll stop it just before pit entry. James Curl going to be on the track right now, and it looks like he's getting off of pit road as we speak. Start finish line, you see drivers right there on it on pit road. The 69 machine, who's in pits, waiting to get back out there. We'll see the number 4 of Josh Brackett fly right by him. How's about the number 3 machine you saw there in your frame, the TRD? Number 4 flies by, and now battles all around the circuit as drivers begin to prepare for yet another exciting race. Got a Chevy Corvette in that number 3, I'll tell you that much. That's a special look as the 94 gets involved with a bit of an incident here. Still a lot of time. You might see incidents happening throughout the entirety of this field as drivers push their limits and find out what they're capable of. That's the big goal of practice on iRacing, and since you can't immediately repair it regardless of the condition it's in practice, you can always test your luck, push your limits, and find out what works and what does not. Coming off a corner, number 4 once again. It looks like the 3 just spun. It gets flipped over violently, but all is going to be well as they all come down to pit road as soon as they can. The aerial shot will show you this field is covered, and it's covering the track of South Boston Speedway. And now, diving into turns 1 and 2, the entirety of the field pushing each other in. You got over 24 drivers who have taken times, looks like 24 valid times, and one other driver has taken a lap that is not verified. 27 registered in South Boston, and it looks like now they are all spread out by only 1/2 a second. Very close margins. The top 10 only split by 1/10 and just over 1/10, 1/100th. Very small. These are very competitive drivers, and it shows in their rankings. iRating is the metric that drivers are given on the iRacing platform to sort of measure and rank skill compared to other drivers they are racing against. As it stands, James Curl in the number 51 machine has the highest iRating of any driver here with a 10,795 marker, an incredibly high mark compared to almost every other driver on the service, let alone in this league. It's a very impressive mark, and it was shown as racing as he was up in front for the entirety of the previous race in the street stocks. And now as we take a look on the screen, Michael Harden, the number 77. We'll try to get a better look at that car, being informed this is a homage to his own real-life paint scheme. The 77, like many drivers on the iRacing platform, has experience in the real world, and he's running his own NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts weekly series scheme. A beautiful look and a nice contrast as we now look to the number 50. And now as we take a look at the number 50 machine, Ross Dalton, one of the drivers also with some real-world experience. The number 50 makes it by in the Cadillac. Drivers don't necessarily have to follow the same manufacturers in NASCAR's lower series like the weekly tour as their national. You can drive whatever you want as long as you supply the decals, and right now this Cadillac machine is moving. Looking to go back-to-back in victory lane. That's the goal for the number 50, and tonight it is very, very possible. Whether or not it happens is all up to whether or not he can get the speed up. Right now he finds himself 6th on the board, which is still a very high mark compared to most on the track, but the drivers at the front of the field have a certain edge. Even those outside the top 5 cannot compare. 19 machine of Jordan Blair going to be on the way, and he's now going to be on to pit road once again. Blair is scored as it stands in the 27th spot. He just joined the session and is trying to make things work out as we go through with 15 minutes remaining on the timing sheets. Now, the number 16 on the way as well. That's us taking a look at Seth Dameron. And it looks like for the number 16 machine, he's inside the top 10, and he's there with just a bit of buffer. 9th place as it stands, so good spot to be in up in the front half of the field. And as we heard from the drivers for the most recent race, you want to be up in front. It's safer there, better racing, and if you're quick enough, you can definitely hang with the best of them and look for some more spots and more points in the championship running. 75 laps. The main event will be when we get things started in just a few minutes' time. The Pitwall Podcast 110, waiting for the main event to get on its way. And as we get through it this time by James Curl, who finds himself ahead in first. Then Caleb Hall is going to be in second with Jeremy Ashby in third. And Cody Pace is in now the 5th spot, being up. Moved. The pack is going to see one driver go right up. That's going to be Ross Dalton. Blake Thronberg going to be 6th with Chase Robertson in 7th and Dalton Ledbetter in 8th. As it stands right now, those drivers inside the top 8 are separated by only 7/100ths of a second, with 13 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the board. The Pitwall Podcast 110, the season opener for the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour. Right now, the tour shaping up to be an exciting series on Sunday nights, a fantastic opener of the street stocks, and now just a few minutes away from our very first event in the late models. The longer races, the quicker machinery, and they're sure to bring on an exciting show as well, as they are just about glued to the track, pushing at much higher speeds down the straightaway. Drivers hitting triple digits, seeing 101 from Trent Smith that time around, seeing up to 105 machine on these speedometers. These are quick drivers in even quicker cars. Right now, side by side, you'll see the number 4 machine wiggles up the track, keeps it straight, and just like that, there's a battle on the circuit once again. These are more durable than a street stock would be. You can beat and bang with them a bit. The panels might get damaged, but the power will still be there. So if you do have a bit of trouble holding on to it, getting it away from the wall, there's still a chance to compete all throughout. 12 minutes and 43 seconds remaining on the board. We're looking at the number 4 machine once again of Josh Brackett. Josh has now scored in 24th. And in 25th, it's Aaron Stoltz. The 16 machine, that looks to be another number 16, and I'm not quite sure who that would be, given the fact that the 9th place driver, who is the 16, according to timing and scoring, is already on the track with a much different look. All the same, James Curl now chasing down the number 4 on your frame, and it looks like Curl making up just a bit of time as the 4 slips up once again. Troublesome with all the power that these drivers have in late models. If you mess up, if you slip up just one bit, you'll find yourself in the wall, or worse, in another driver's machinery, and if there's a multi-car wreck, it can get dicey. The track can be blocked just like that, and that's something no driver wants to see, especially in the heat of the moment. 11 minutes remain on the board right now. You can see the number 98 machine on your frame now chasing down the 4. That is going to be Drew Cox in his Cadillac as they go side by side once again on frame. It looks like that's the 22 Blake Throneberg blazing by the 6. That number 6 machine going to fade back just a bit further. Now, multiple drivers going at it in frame. That's Jackson Sparks. He's driving the number 7 on timing and scoring tonight, while Blake Throneberg is back again in his number 22. Looked very competitive last race, but now looking to chase the top spot of the board. Maybe this is the race where he can get his revenge and find himself as a race winner. That remains to be seen, as 11 flat minutes remain on the timing charts. The 94 machine goes way up high that time, giving opportunity for the number 54 of Aaron Stoltz to get by him. Now, looking at the number 77, that will be another taking look. Looks like now he'll be fighting with the 38 machine of Austin Purnell. Going down to the bottom side, they're going to go to avoid a wreck, able to do so. And while there is just enough room to avoid multi-car collisions, if you don't make that proper move with the right amount of time, you'll be inside the wall and then eventually inside a wrecker, as these machines can get torn up quickly, just like that. The big thing, though, once again, a chance to get it all right. There is one faster pair for every driver in this race, and when the race gets going at about 15 minutes time, these drivers will be sure to make everything count each and every lap. They don't want to risk having to use that faster pair early, as we're looking at the number 16 Ford Mustang that goes up to the top side, and that will be the number 21 on timing and scoring of Speedy Bird. Now James Curl makes it by with Jeffrey Wood right there, and Curl, who's still the fastest driver on the track, having no trouble making it by every driver. His fastest lap, a 14.9 flat, is 19 thousandths of a second faster than Caleb Hall's best effort. While close, not at all enough to make it happen to stick on the top spot of the charts. Jeremy Ashby going to be in 3rd. It looks like now Ross Dalton's in 4th. Cody Pace is in 5th, and Blake Throneberg is in 6th. Chase Robertson is in 7th, and Dalton Ledbetter is in 8th, with Trent Smith now in 9th. And it looks like now we're looking at the number 3 machine, then the number 16. Pit road occupied by many drivers, some of which making their way out, some of which making their way in, as it looks like off-frame Ross Dalton involved with a multi-car incident. And practice is a bit intense. You can see drivers going in and out of pit road very quickly. Some drivers not able to make a lap around the track before having to go back in. Jeffrey Wood, who is now the 94 machine, looking to get a bit further up on the order. He finds himself in 23rd. Scooter finds himself in 26th. And 28 drivers are now registered, which means at the minimum 8 go home. You got to be inside the top 18 to be safe. You could be inside the top 20 and make it if you're the drivers of either the number 21 or if you're the driver of Ethan Johnson. And Johnson right now in his 27 is in the 22nd spot. He would be bounced on time, but his season-long provisional will ensure he'll make it into the race regardless. And Damage going to get some drivers up to the high side on the wall. They're now looking to the number 97 of Philip York. We pull away to take another shot with Ross Dalton. And a multi-car battle might begin here. As you can see, drivers limping off of pit road. Dalton goes in, and now the number 19 machine, and that looks to be Jordan Blair, goes for a chase himself. The Ford's got some damage on the right side of his Toyota, and it looks like now the TRD machine might have to lift and get off the main line, as he might be holding up another driver here. That is going to be Drew Cox going for a spot. Does not take it. Find himself on the back bumper once again. How's about we take an onboard shot with the number 98 machine, see what's going on inside this battle as they are getting close to one another. You can see this is Josh Brackett, and Brackett's onboard shot, he's going to have to go right by a few drivers who are very slow on the track. Brackett's still going to be on his way. As you can see, Drew Cox now side by side with the number 4. He'll take it down to the bottom once again, get his Hoosier tires to work, and they're going to be door banging there, able to keep it together quite nicely. As now the arrow shot will show you. Now, pit road even more active than ever before. Josh Brackett goes up high, tries to get a better run off the corner with momentum as he's side by side, and he's going to end up banging doors once again. They're going to beat each other up the track, and Drew Cox now has none of it and goes immediately by the number 4 machine just like that. Looking at the rear view shot of Drew Cox's number 98, he's still getting some work over from Josh Brackett, but it won't work for all too long. Now the 98 is by, and it looks like he'll try to keep it that way until practice is over. 6 minutes remaining on the board right now, 10:24 Eastern Seaboard time here in South Boston, and the South Boston Speedway, a very historic circuit, a lot of history, and a lot of great racing to go along with it. Just 60 miles away from the NASCAR Cup Series venue of Martinsville Speedway, this track has been around since 1957 with a capacity of over 10,000 spectators. And while it is only 4/10 of a mile long, it's seen many major events such as the ARCA Menard Series and even, at a time, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Many NASCAR sanctioned events have been held here, and many great drivers have came from this track, including the Burton brothers and Jeff and Ward, Elliott Sadler, Stacy Compton, and the Bodine brothers being Todd, Jeff, and Brett. And from there on out, many great drivers in the NASCAR and stock car world have came from South Boston Speedway, showing that this track can create proven winners. Tonight, another driver hopes to add themselves to the list of race winners here in South Boston. Looks like we already have one in Ross Dalton in the street stocks, but the late models are what it's all about. The biggest event of the night, longer, and it will be with quicker equipment, and there's a lot more on the line in regards to who gets this one done. It's a true test of a driver's skill. While the street stock race was impressive enough, tonight we'll show you that the late models have even more to offer to add to the action. Side by side, it looks like Drew Cox going to hook the number 4 and take him for a wild spin. Now it's going to be the 94 of Jeffrey Wood making a buy, and Jeffrey now has some pressure side by side, and he will be with Cody Pace. Pace is 5th on the charts here in practice. In the charts of practice, you'll see the 94 is in 24th, so a big deficit in terms of position, but Jeffrey's only 0.2 of a second away from the fastest time on the board. The top 20 are separate by just about 1/10.5. That's how close the margins are before the race gets on its way. So you can imagine With all these times being so close to one another, it's going to be very, very challenging to differentiate who's who when it comes to who should be in the race and who shouldn't be in the bump battle. It's a bump system of qualifying. If you get moved off the top 18, bumped out, you will be in big trouble. No way to get out of that one unless you have a season-long provisional. And the 84 now going down low. As it stands, he's safely in on speed if this was qualifying, and so is the driver watching right now, and it looks like Cody Pace back on his way. The number 16 of Seth Dameron is going to be on the way once again, and Seth taking it down to 1 and 2 with an open track ahead of him, able to get some quicker laps in right now, trying to best his own quickest time. His fastest at the moment is a 14.994, and his most recent lap is a 15.156, only to be bested by a 15.062. He's got 66 laps of practice, and right now the timing and scoring charts show that James Curl has gotten 71 laps of practice, almost the entirety of the length of the feature race tonight. These drivers are putting together more practice than the race would be in length, goes to show the dedication with even just about half an hour of time before the race got on its way. The 97 right now on your frame again, that is currently going to be Philip York, and it looks like he's moved up into 19th, just 0.003 of a second outside the metaphorical, or rather hypothetical, top 18 bubble. Top 18 is safe to go on to the main race. If you're not inside the top 18, you better have a provisional, and right now, drivers who are safe, or should be, unless there's a major mistake, include James Curl, Caleb Hull, Jeremy Ashby, Ross Dalton, Cody Pace, Blake Bromberg, Chase Robertson, Trent Smith, and Dalton Ledbetter in the top 9. Those drivers in the top half of those who will make it in no matter what, and if those speeds carry over to qualifying, they should be safe short of any major mistake. It could happen. It's racing. People make mistakes. It's a human sport in the most literal of senses. So if someone does mess up, it could give us an upset in qualifying, the likes of which we might not expect going in. 2 minutes remain here in the Pitwall Podcast 110 before the race gets on its way. Of course, qualifying coming up first, and then the main show. And now, with qualifying almost complete, we got to find out who makes it into the race before we find out who comes home as the winner. Tonight's race sponsored once again by the Pitwall Podcast, the series sponsor as well. And if you're with us for the first time, of course, just tuning in, or if you've been with us since the very first minute, I'm David Kreutz, the lead announcer for tonight's broadcast, alongside Cody Deemers, our regular producer, here on Roosters Broadcasting. A lot to be excited about as we get things going here for the late model race. As we look at pit road, most drivers are down and on it as they get word, race information, and it looks like now they're all waiting for the show to get on the road. As drivers come through to pit road and wait for qualifying to begin, the race rundown being presented to them, the information they need to know, we have as well. 75 lap main race, and as we saw, we can't have an overtime finish in this series, and if that does happen, in 2 lap shootout, same format as regular NASCAR or any other stock car races. 75 laps of action tonight will double the distance and then some of the street stock event. Top 18 make it in qualifying, 2 drivers with a lifetime provisional for the season, and those would include Speedy Bird and Ethan Johnson. So you got to make it into the top 18 to really solidify yourself in the race, and just like that, you'll be in. 1 faster pair to make it through tonight. If you use that up and you need any more, there's no way to get any more. 1 second chance. That is it. Practice has concluded. James Curl is the fastest driver, and now we move on to qualifying to find out who makes it in to tonight's main event. As they come through this time by from practice to qualifying. If you're enjoying the action here in Roosters Broadcasting, we'll be back every Sunday night. So be sure to subscribe to the channel for more action here in the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour. Now, qualifying going to be on the way. 5 minutes, 2 laps. Let's get this back on the way. It's going to be drivers already back on the track, notably guys like Aaron Stoltz, Brandon Kiger, Brian Rose, Drew Cox, and now as they come through, we've got qualifying in full swing. Jackson Sparks going to be on the way. You can see in that number 7 machine, he'll be making his way right out on the track. Philip York going to be also on the move. No time lapse have been taken as Blake Thronberg comes by the start-finish line. Green flag flies in qualifying, and 2 laps will be given to each and every driver looking to make something happen. Brian Rose puts down the first time lap here, and Blake Thronberg looking to put down the next. Chase Murphy now scored in second with Dave Bischner in third. The peak antifreeze machine of Dalton Ledbetter flashes by on frame. Speedy Burn, the number 21 machine, making it by once again in his all-red Ford Mustang. And Brandon Kiger, who's outside the top 10 at the moment, looking to put himself in with a solid lap. Speedy gets a loose off corner exit once again. That puts him in 8th for now. Now dropped down into 10th as Josh Brackett finds himself inside the top 10 too. Ross Dalton making it around for the first time tonight, trying to put himself on the board. He does and puts himself solidly within the podium. He's in 3rd right now, looking to even improve on that with this next lap. Brandon Kiger going to be on the way as Ross makes it down and in once again. That will take him from 3rd on the board. It will keep him there. And no further improvement is made. Ethan Johnson going to be on the way in the number 27. Scored in 17th at the moment. He'll have to make a big lap out of this one to have a chance to lock himself in without a provisional. And he has a solid lap. He'll put himself in 13th, middle of the field. Trent Smith in the 003 now going to be on the way. Trent trying to make something happen here. And as he comes off corner exit once again, looks like he's going to put down his first lap. And it will put him firmly inside the top 5. Trent Smith puts him in nicely, and now he's locked into the show. Only driver out at the moment is Jeremy Ashby, but he's still got one more lap to go in, and he is flying. This will move Jeffrey Wood outside the main, and as Ashby comes around, he goes from 20th up to the pole. All the way from last in qualifying up to first. Ashby puts together a shock run, and it looks like now it's Scooter's turn to go up to the top of the board. He won't take it. Chase Robertson does instead. Now Robertson's going to be on the pole position. Seth Dameron's going to be in 14th. Looks like he's still inside the top 18 firmly as he moves up from that 15th spot just slightly. James Curl now goes up into 5th. As it stands, the bump race is in full swing. Aaron Stoltz, as it stands, is out of it. He's in 20th. Michael Hardendy's on his second lap, is in 18th. He's very close to not making it in. Looks like now Caleb Hall will be the shock, and Aaron Stoltz, with his most recent lap, won't make it in. He's 20th, and he is out. Michael Harden jumps from 19th up to 7th, and now it's up to Caleb Hall to change things here in qualifying. 26th on his first lap. This one better be big as the number 14 makes it around once again, putting the power nice and smoothly in. What does he have in store? It looks like for Caleb Hall, it looks like he will go up into 4th. Nice run for him. That keeps him firmly inside the top 18. Chase Murphy is on the bubble. Jeremy Beauchamp is the only driver to have not taken the time so far, but Chase Robertson now is scored on the pole position. And with that in mind, maybe we can get a word from the man in the 31 who looks to be scored in the pole position. So how about we take that chance and get in your pole sitter for tonight's late model event. Let's get an interview with Chase Robertson, fastest man on the qualifying order here in the 75 lap main feature. How do you feel after that run?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. The car was good. Just gonna go out here and see what we got for 75 laps. Been testing a little bit, so on the long run, pretty comfortable.
And got a good first lap in there. Of course, good first few laps in to put yourself up in front of qualifying. Track position appears to be key. How important do you think this qualifying session is in terms of your future success for the rest of the race?
Yeah, of course, starting position is huge here. Inside line is good too. Outside will probably be good. Just set pace right here and try to hold them off for 75.
And we saw in the street stock race, it's very hard to defend in South Boston. If you get put off the low line, you're all but done for. So what's it going to take to defend your position?
Yeah, you just got to run your race. Stay glued to the bottom, have good drive off, and think I'll be fine.
And confidence for the man at number 31, that's Chase Robertson, looking to come home with his first win of the season in the very first late model race here in South Boston. Robertson up in front as we'll take away the timing ticker and show you your starting grid for tonight's main feature. Chase Robertson, the number 31, finds himself in fourth, of course now up to first with a very solid qualifying run, moves him up to the pole position with Jeremy Ashby in second, Blake Thronberg in third, and Caleb Hall from outside the bump to fourth place in qualifying. Austin Purnell going to round out the top five with James Carl in sixth and Dalton Ledbetter in seventh. Michael Harden going to be eighth with then the Ross Dalton machine in ninth. Your street stock winner, Trent Smith, going to round out your top 10. Then from there, going to be Cody Pace in 11th, Jordan Blair in 12th, and Brandon Tiger in 13th. Philip York is going to be in that 14th spot with Drew Cox in 15th. Then Dave Beschenner 16th. Seth Dameron's going to be in 17th, and Chase Murphy is in 18th. From here on out, Brian Rose does not qualify. Ethan Johnson on provisionals makes the field, and looking on from there, Aaron Stoltz, Jackson Sparks, and Josh Brackett alongside Jeffrey Wood and Scooter all don't make the show. Your final provisional is Speedy Bird in 23rd, with Kyle Klingenpeel being race control and Jeremy Beauchamp not turning one qualifying lap. As we look at your starting cam for tonight's event, the big show is here and now. 75 laps of racing, and tonight, highly anticipated, the first race of the day. Incredible to set the stage. Now we'll see whether or not these late models can one-up the show we saw in the street stocks. For Chase Robertson, it's a big opportunity to come home with the race win. Of course, he wants to make it happen for himself. He's got competitors behind him who came from the street stocks and are looking to do it one more time up in front. You've got, of course, drivers like the number 50 of Ross Dalton, won that street stock race, looks very solid as well in qualifying. Jeremy Ashby looking for some sort of redemption to get a victory lane. Blake Thronberg and Caleb Hall also very quick. Now, as they come around with one more pace lap, there could be a new winner, or the race EPI machine could come out on top. Representing Elite Performance Industries, Chase Robertson has the pole position. Right next to him, Jeremy Ashby. Blake Thronberg is in third. Caleb Hall going to be there in fourth. And as we come through, side by side, they'll be setting up. And as we come through, it's setup shops going against each other in EPI and RKM. Who can set themselves up for the victory? We'll find out tonight. Pace cars in, green flags out. Let's go for the main event in the Pitwall Podcast 110. Robertson keeps that low line. Going to be side by side for the race lead with Jeremy Ashby there in second. Blake Thronberg going to be third as they keep it double file. 2 rows deep coming across for the exit of lap number 1. It's going to be Robertson still down to the bottom, but the race lead going to be occupied that time through by Jeremy Ashby. Ashby's got himself the front spot, but not for all too much longer as he's blinking in and out repeatedly. That's going to be very tough to deal with as the race goes on, but the number 2 machine still has a slight advantage. Caution flies for the first time tonight, and it flies in the back of the field. Austin Purnell notably loses a whole load of time. As we take a look at the back of the pack, that's a look at the number 13 in Chase Murphy, and they're still wrecking, and that's Purnell who goes spinning. Let's get the instant replay on the matter and find out what caused this one as the number 38 dropped down low, tries to keep himself in the right state of mind, right line as well, and you would see as he comes through, tapped by the 32, and goes right up the track with Dalton Ledbetter. Then some contact from the 85, and they keep piling in. Multiple drivers go sideways, and as we come back to the live feed, drivers already contemplating whether or not they go down to pit road. And a tough start for these drivers up in the head of the field, of course, to get the racing slowed down so quickly. But for the driver, the number 2 in Jeremy Ashby, able to quickly retake the lead and find himself up ahead, trying to get hit home for 75 laps of action tonight. Maybe he's got the lead, and that might have been the move that kept him up here all night long. Might be a bit too early to say that though, but Ashby was fighting very well on the outside line, even though it looks like now he cycles back with some blinking. Ashby is still up in front for good reason. 3 laps in at a 75. Pace car is still on the circuit, and timing and scoring messing up just a bit under yellow because caution laps in this event do not count. The street stocks they did, in this race they do not, so every lap under green means that much more. The race is frozen effectively when we go under yellow in the late model event. So the field remains the same with Ashby and Robertson first and second. Then in the third spot, the number 22 machine of Blake Thronberg, and in fourth, it is that number 14 of Caleb Hall who remains right behind your top 3 drivers. 3 laps in so far, double file they remain, and South Boston Speedway sees its first glimpse of racing before everything gets slowed down once again as the iRacing official pace car leads them through all the same. 3 laps in out of 75. Fans pointing out a lot of marbles on the outside groove here in South Boston. Josh Broadwell in specific saying that just a few moments ago, and that's indeed the case. The rubber picking up on the high side of the track. Drivers want to lay down low, keep it calm and consistent. That's the way they want to keep it, and if these drivers wash up high, we might see some trouble as the pace car going to come in this time through. Restart number 1 on the day brings us back to the green, and they're wrecking already. Huge spin. Caution is due to immediately fly. And just like that, caution goes around once again. Number 3 machine going to be caught up in the back. A huge wreck. And we'll take an instant replay of the back half of the field as we still see trouble. 1 lap machine going to stop moving. And that could have gone much, much worse. 4 laps in at a 75. Take a look back at the number 3 machine in frame. And it looks like it just went from bad to worse with drivers stacking up on the restart. And yes, that's how it went. The 51 gets caught up big. That's James Curl. Then the number 19 gets caught, and that is going to be a huge hit for the back end and even the front end of Jordan Blair. And then the number 3 got lost. And it looks like from there on out, nothing could be changed. Now, drivers fading to the back of the field after incidents becoming a bit more common. And you can see limping now to the bottom of your screen. That is the number 3 fading back on timing and scoring, as your race leader remains as the number 2 of Jeremy Ashby. And the Pitwall Podcast 110 already seen its fair share of yellows. We only saw 3 yellow flags all throughout the first race. We're up to 2 on this one. Hopefully, that's just the way it's going to start, and we get the hiccups out the way first. We get the green flag racing for the rest of this one. However, as it stands, that remains to be seen. Still led by Chase Robertson out in the front of the field. Jeremy Ashby's in second, and Caleb Hall is there in third. As they come by once again, 4 laps in, they'll get double filed, and they'll go back racing to lap number 5. And as we come through once again, caution slightly extended, and the information given to us here in FTN and Roosters Broadcasting, the drivers here are at the will of the leader. If Jeremy Ashby wants the high side, he can take it. If he wants the low side, he can take it too. But every other driver is forced to go around where the leader goes. It's all up to his discretion. We'll see whether or not he chooses to go back high once again, or if he stays down on the bottom, which seems to be the preferred and the dominant line in this race. And it looks like he'll stay back down low at the moment. Drivers have already taken fast repairs, namely those such as the man in, wow, they're shuffling up and down here, hard for us to even tell, but those such as the 38 machine, they have taken a fast repair. That's going to be Austin Purnell. How about the driver in the 003? That's Trent Smith. And even drivers at the further up front like Jordan Blair. Green flag gonna fly for the second restart of the day. Same drivers up in front. Let's go racing again. Ashby able to reclaim the lead. The caution's out once again. Instant replay going to be shown. Caution in the back. Looks like Dave Bishner and Dalton Ledbetter. Third straight caution, and the number 3 machine of Dave Bishner in his Chevy Corvette gets caught up in the bad news. So let's take a quick look at what just happened here. As 5 laps in, things have gone to the worst. Third straight yellow in succession, and it looks like another stack-up might have been the cause, but it only comes through turns 1 and 2 as Dave Bichener brakes early, and it looks like Ledbetter's around for the ride. And the caution flies just like that. Instant replay shows you the number 3 machine is in trouble. 5 laps into the 20-car field remains the same in pacing, and your leader is still Ashby with the Robertson machine there in second. Chase Robertson only able to lead at the start of the race from the pole position, but every other lap has been controlled so far by Jeremy Ashby. And so far, these laps have been mostly ran under yellow. This race has a time limit of 1 hour and 15 minutes. In the case that we do hit that time limit, well, it'll have to be very, very long. We stay under yellow. The odds are slim, but the way things have gone, we've seen multiple yellows back to back to back. This is our third, which will lead to restart number 3. Hopefully from here on out, we get the green flag racing back in order. And the Pitwall Podcast 110's main event on display, a 75-lap feature with Jeremy Ashby out in front. Then going to be Dave Bichener there in second, and Chase Robertson is in third, and that's going to be timing and scoring messing up for just a moment there. Now it's going to be Ashby in front. Robertson is going to be back in second, and third place now going to be occupied by the number 14 machine of Caleb Hall as your lap driver goes back down to the bottom of the running order. As it stands, when the caution is frozen on iRacing, every driver remains on the lead lap, giving them all an opportunity to go back racing once again as if nothing happened. It's a freezing moment on the circuit. Timing and scoring determines where everyone is, and since the track is very short, the odds that the lap machines are put one down before the leaders get by are almost impossible. So with that in mind, everyone is still on the lead lap as we come around for lap number 6, this time through. Restart number 3 on the day, led by Jeremy Ashby. The green flag falls once again in succession. Third straight caution. Lead steer, third straight restart. Now the question is whether or not the action and the aggression will back down as Ashby takes that lead once again. Got Robertson right in the high side, and he's got Caleb Hall there too. Now Robertson tries to defend his side by side. We'll see James Curl and the number 77 machine of Michael Harden. Harden going to take it down to the bottom side once again. He's got the 97 of Philip York there too, and York going to try to give them a run for his money. He's not able to stick it in though as the side-by-side battle continues now with a Philip Cox machine, and that's Drew Cox there with Philip York just ahead. Both of them going to be sandwiching the 84 of Cody Pace, and 8 laps through, looks like now Cox going for a battle in his own right. The number 50 of Ross Dalton, who's looking to win back-to-back races tonight, finds himself in the back of the field, and there's a battle and a wreck, a huge wreck. The 16's over, and the caution flies again for the 4th time, and it began with the number 21 machine of Speedy Bird. It looks like he got caught up big. He's on pit road now. Let's take a look at what just happened. Speedy Bird goes for a nasty hit in the outside wall and above, almost higher than the catch fence. The number 21, 16 on your screen, goes flying. And he's going to try to stick it to the high side as he overcorrects his number 16 machine, and he gets right up to the catch fence, blows over, takes the 38 with him, takes the 50, takes the number 003, Trent Smith involved, drivers such as, of course, wow, there is still a parking lot. You can see drivers such as Ledbetter still stuck in it, and the caution flies with lap number 9 back on the way, and now we're in trouble once again as drivers get cycled back out to the lead lap. And it's going to be difficult for these drivers to keep on going the way they have. This is your 4th straight yellow. A huge hit for the number 21 machine of Speedy Bird. He's 1 lap down as it stands on pit road with major damage to repair and some towing as well. Upside down, as high as the catch fence can go, and back again. Multiple drivers caught up. Jeremy Ashby, still your leader, all the same, with Chase Robertson second, Caleb Hall now going to be in third. And then the 4th spot right behind the big 3 of this race, occupied by Blake Thronberg. And it looks like now getting a word from the infield care center. Speedy Bird with a huge hit there, and he went all the way up to the highest point of the catch fence. It looks like we got a word with him now. 1 lap down. How you going after that wreck?
Yo, what's going on?
And now we got a copy from the number 16 of Speedy Bird. Huge wreck up to the high side of the catch fence and a hard hit. And it looks like now back on pit road. What's it going to take to keep going from here?
Oh, yeah. Got a little loose coming off turn number 2 there. And just got behind on the steering there. I think I'm going to sit this one out and let these boys finish it out.
And either way, still able to participate in both races tonight. South Boston, certainly different as a short track goes. It's got its own character to it. How has it been for you as a driver?
Oh, it's been good. Rawson then put this league on, and Pitwall podcast. Been a good thing going so far. I hope it continues to take off and get the good car counts and everything.
And we hope to see that as well. As for the rest of your season's plans, as the 4th restart of the day comes out, what's it going to take to rebound from tonight?
I just got to get some more laps in, get behind the steering wheel some more, and try to get better.
And hoping to put some more laps down throughout the season. Speedy Bird with a harsh hit going to end his day prematurely. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
As we got a wreck already, huge hit for the number 14 machine. Caution flies once again. Caleb Hall, and the 5th yellow flag flies with Chase Robertson involved. And Caleb Hall is angry. My oh my, we cut away from that one, but it looks like he's going for some vengeance. We'll watch the entirety of this sequence once again. The number 14 was occupying the 2nd position. James Curl going to give the 31 a bump. They rub up the track. That's 3 wide. And it looks like Robertson not happy at all. He tries to send it in a bit deeper. He pushes the 14 up the track, spins him, and puts him in the back end of the fence. Now take a look at this. We won't cut away yet. As you can see, the number 14 immediately puts it back to full speed. What was he chasing? It looks like he was chasing the number 31 Robertson. Immediately gets back up there and then goes back up high. So that almost looked like he was going to go for an intentional wreck. That he doesn't, and it looks like all will be well as the number 14 stays at pace speed. 11 laps in, 5 cautions. We have not seen a green flag run yet. I'll tell you this much, unfortunate to see it's been under yellow for so much of this time. Still a lot of time to go, though, to get things fixed up, and only 2 retirees in Trent Smith and Speedy Bird. Chase Robertson now going to be down in 18th according to timing and scoring. Jeremy Ashby is your race leader and finds himself at the front of the field as they come out of corner 2. Once again, if you enjoyed the action tonight here on the Pitwall Podcast 110, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the Roosters Broadcasting channel. We've got the entirety of the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour coming your way. This season, broadcasted exclusively on Roosters Broadcasting, and it will be an exciting show each and every Sunday night. We've already seen our street stock event of the day. Now, we've moved on to our main feature here in the South Boston Speedway, and it has given us certainly quite a few surprises and exciting moments already. The question still remains, will we be able to get through and find ourselves a green flag run? Maybe now's the time that we will find out, as the yellow flag is still waved. Next time by, we're expected to go green flag racing, and it looks like now as they come across again, should be good to set up for a green run. Double file, the field goes once more. Still 18 drivers on the racing circuit. 11 laps in. This will send us into the first dozen. Lap number 12. Ashby down low. James Curl now up high. And the 22 machine of Blake Thronberg going to be down on the bottom as well, with Philip York moving up into 4th. Green flag flies this time by for the 5th time today. Restart number 5 at lap number 12. And as it stands, Ashby able to take that lead as they go side by side right behind the 77 machine of Michael Harden, now working with Drew Cox. Their double file once again, the 84 machine right there with them. That's going to be Cody pacing the wall again, Drew Cox, and that brings out another yellow flag. Huge hit for the number 98. He gets on the quarter panel there and rubs him up the track and takes himself to Drew Cox. That is caution number 6. And aggression plays its hand once again. We're under the yellow flag once more. The 98 machine up high on the track, working with Michael Harden there, and he gets rubbed up the circuit, and it looks like he's not happy about that one. Tries to lay it down a bit lower, puts the quarter panel to Harden, and takes them both up the racetrack, and that is going to bring out the caution flag once more. 6th yellow of the day, 13 laps in, and we got drivers coming down to pit road already. As you can see, blocked out of frame, drivers coming in, such as Ross Dalton, Drew Cox, Michael Harden, as they make their way around. Looks like now Michael Harden back on the way. It looks like he just took his fast repair. And with this being said and done, it is still the number 2 machine at the front of your field in Jeremy Ashby. Then in second is now James Curl. And as we look from the rear view perspective of the iRacing official pace car, the field is still bunched up for the most part. But some drivers taking the risk and going down for a strategy call. The number 2 machine has led the way each and every lap so far. Very consistent. The front of the field has treated him nicely. Well, James Curl, he's had to fight a bit harder. He's now up there in the same spot, looking to get that race win for his own right. Maybe tonight the number 51 gets the main feature, or Jeremy Ashby's able to hold on. Still all up to what these drivers do from here on out. So far, it has been mostly the caution that's decided who's been where at what time. Green flag set to go this time around. The iRacing official pace car's lights are, as it stands, off, and drivers are getting backed up to the front of the field. Yellow flag is still held in place, but as we come around this time by, they should be good to get back to the action. That they will not. Yellow flag slightly extended. We'll have one more time to wait and go around. Looks like some drivers just too far back in the field to go racing. For safety reasons, once again, we'll hold it under caution. As drivers come around this time, the back of the field is now caught up, and the drivers will come by turn 2, ready for action. James Ashby, of course, James and Ashby up in front. Jeremy, your leader, James Curl is in second. What can they do to break away and begin a battle? Maybe there's nothing that they can do short of wait for the field to get clean. Green flag's out for yet another restart. This is the 5th on the day, and the green brings us back to action. Down low, Blake Thronberg going to try to put the bumper now on James Curl. Curl going to get real slippery, and he'll keep himself up on the high side and not go for anything risky at the moment. 97 going to dive it down low, trying to make something stick. Does not make it work there, and now we got the number 22 going for second, and he gets it, at least for the moment. James Curl going to be there in third with Philip York in fourth. Crossover maneuver put into effect, but it's going to be a spinner. Does the James Curl machine save it? Yes, he does, and the caution still flies. Safety caution. They expected a wreck, and the caution gets thrown out a bit early, as it looks like Blake Thronberg, while falling back, does bring out the caution. An instant replay on the matter will show you the number 22 of Blake Thronberg tapped by James Curl, and he's now back on the way, and the Chevy Camaro gets run up the track. Here's the instant replay to show you, and you can see just gets drifted off. Almost looked like a spin. Thankfully that it was not, and the green flag could have stayed out. As we take another instant replay on the matter, you can see James Curl tries to go over the switchover maneuver in what was the longest green flag run of the day, clocking it at just over 2 laps. The 22 goes up high and does make a fantastic save. A bit too slow for the admin's liking. The caution flag flies out all the same. And Jeremy Ashby, still up in the front of the field, remains fantastically consistent, not at all bothered. Maybe he's not bothered per se, but he is not at all phased by the drivers behind him. He maintains his top spot without any effort for the most part. The lead is still his, and for Philip York, maybe there's a chance to get up there too, as the 51 of James Curl now shows he's not afraid to be aggressive and get involved with an incident. York remains in third. It's Cody Pace who's now in fourth, and in the fifth spot it is going to be Jordan Blair, now just behind. The number 2, Jeremy Ashby, remains out in front. And as we go through the yellow flag once again, we'll take a brief promotional break and return to the action when the green flag falls.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And as we return from our promotional break, lap 16 out of 75 here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. Yellow flags have dominated the majority of this race. Restart number 6 on the way, led by Jeremy Ashby. The green flag falls yet again. And down low, Jeremy Ashby's going to have himself the race lead, 17 laps strong, heading to 18, this time by James Crow. Going to be up on the high side with Philip York down there in third, putting together the picture. The number 2 machine's got that race lead, but the 51 has been trying to take it right back. No chance that time through, but he'll swap down to the bottom line and try to make it work. That time around, he gets turned. Does he save it? It doesn't matter. Philip York goes around, and the caution flies once again. Chase Robertson involved, another huge hit, and a big load of the pack gets involved. I can already see 6 drivers in this wreck, and that's at the minimum. Huge wreck begins with James Curl getting spun from second, and 18 laps in, the caution flies once more. Now we begin to question whether or not the time limit will be hit. The 51 drops down to the bottom, maintains that spot, gets punted out the way by Philip York. York gets hit, and they all go around. Chase Robertson spins, trying to avoid it. You can see Philip, of course, in the back of the field. And then you can see Drew Cox there as well. Multiple wrecks at once, all avoiding what happened up front. And the leaders still stay largely the same. I mean, it is still Jeremy Ashby's race to this point. He has that lead 18 laps in, and he's had it for quite some time now. 27 minutes into our session for this race, which means we have just over 58 minutes remaining to clear this race and get it over with. When it comes to a timing standpoint, well, it begins to become a question. Do we even make it to that point without losing a lap or two? 75 laps, we've gone through 18 laps in the span of half an hour. That's not pace to get us to the end of this event, at least at the moment. They would have to clean up the act much more than what we've seen. This is our 7th caution of the day, and after a street stock race with only 3 yellows, it's getting to be troublesome. Fuel might become an issue on this one, Chad is saying, and that might be the case here. These drivers were not expecting to have to take a fuel load or 2 during the race, but now with so many laps being run, so many more than scheduled, that might just be. Usually caution laps sort of benefit the drivers, give them less stress to worry about when it comes to their fuel, using less because they're pushing out less power. But now they're using more power, more laps. They have to run 75 green flag laps in addition to all the caution laps we have already seen on the track. That's an awful lot of running on the track for a 75 lap race. We'll see over 150 laps of running on the track, even if they're all not counted as race laps. Now, double file. Once again, Jeremy Ashby down low. We got Cody Pace up high. Green flag gonna fly once again and give the number 2 machine a shot to go back and chase the lead once more. 7th restart led by Ashby. The green flag falls yet again. and Jeremy's got himself the lead once more. Side by side, they'll be in the back of the field with Dalton Ledbetter and the number 14 of Caleb Hall. Side by side, you can see another battle with Ethan Johnson there, and Johnson trying to hold on with the number 85 of Brandon Kiger right up high. Low line he'll use, but he does not get much of it. Ethan Johnson tries to block Harden, and it does not work. Side by side, it's getting antsy once again, and even though this track has more grooves than two, it seems like two-wide racing has been troublesome. Now Ethan Johnson fades back just a bit more. He'll let the number 50 machine go right by. Ross Dalton's got himself a shot to get right through. The 51 of James Curl now trying to make spots back up. He's got Chase Robertson chasing him deep, and now Robertson goes down to the bottom line to try to take a spot away from the 51. Does not work that time by. The lead battle remains the same. Jeremy Ashby has the front spot. The rest of the field still chasing him for more. It's going to be the number 14 of Caleb Hall. Down low, getting a better run than Jordan Blair. That keeps him in the 4th spot here. Now he's looking to get to the number 22 of Blake Thronberg, who has himself in position number 3. Thronberg, who occupies the 3rd spot, trying to hold on, and if they come around once again, it's Cody Pace there in 2nd, looking at the back bumper of Jeremy Ashby, wondering whether or not there's a chance he can make anything work, and if he can get by that leader, it would be fantastic for his case. However, Ashby still maintaining A+ defense, and you can see how close the 84 is without making a move. So close to contact, and yet it's not enough. Ashby gets the clearance off corner number 4, and that will keep him safe. As we've seen before, if these drivers make contact bumper to bumper, it can get nasty very, very fast. 26 laps into the 75. This is the longest green flag run we've seen already, and it's gone by in a flash. We're getting closer to the halfway point just like that, and it seems like now things have gotten cleared up. The racers are ready to do their thing and go at it the best they can. The 22 going to be down low once again. He's got himself a nice shot to go through with the number 14 right ahead of him, and even still, Jordan Blair for the taking is in 5th. Dalton Ledbetter going to be in 6th with Michael Harden there in 7th, and now Ross Dalton is in 8th. Dalton now going down to the high side and back again low. He's going to be fighting side by side there with Michael Harden. So close to a pass being complete, but it's not enough. Quarter panel, he's hanging on to it, but Harden can't hang on for long on that high side. Now looks like Ross Dalton's got the clearance, and he takes it. Nice pass there for the number 50 machine. Harden's going to have to hold on and wait for something a bit more later. Maybe a crossover maneuver is what he needs, but right now he's not getting it. Cody Pace, now in 2nd, remains on the back bumper of Jeremy Ashby. Tries to lunge it down low, to no avail. He'll have to wait for another opportunity to come once again. Maybe 3 and 4 is his best chance. But it looks like for now, Ashby is still the quicker driver, time after time. Most recently, Ashby ran a lap that was about 2/100ths of a second quicker than Cody Pace. He is quicker, and while it is a small margin, everything means much more when it's a short track. Every tenth, every inch, every lap of fuel saved, and now that fuel might not be as big an issue, drivers are pushing full on once again. James Curl going to dive it deep to the bottom of the number 85 machine, looking for the spot, and he takes it. Brandon Kiger lets him guy, and now it's going to be letting him by that gets the number 51 of James Curl up into the 10th. Every one of these guys are battling fiercely. You can see number 38 machine, despite some damage, is still running, and 34 laps in, it's going to be Austin Purnell still on the lead lap, but very, very soon he'll be off it. Your top 2 drivers coming by with 34 laps in out of 75. Make it now 2 laps to halfway, and it's Ashby, Cody Pace, 1st and 2nd ahead of the field. Then a side-by-side battle for 3rd with Caleb Hall and Blake Thronberg. They're still double file, and as they come through once again, Thronberg's got the bottom line, but the number 14, they want that spot back. Both of them do, but neither of them have it. We saw these two wreck in the street stock race when competing for the lead. They want to avoid that happening again, but with 37 laps out of 75, the halfway point is here. And with that in mind, how's about we take a Roosters Broadcasting halfway crank it up here in the Pitwall Podcast 110's main event. And the caution flies, no crank it up, just a yellow flag. Ledbetter and Jordan Blair involved, and we are under the caution at the halfway point. And trying to take an instant replay on the matter, it looks like Dalton Ledbetter going to be involved in this one. As we see now, Shane, of course, is going to be off the frame, but that's Drew Cox. And now we see the number 19 for just a moment. Taking a look on back, this is the 19 of Jordan Blair, and it looks like Dalton Ledbetter going to run up into him and send the 19 almost around. Both drivers save it, keep it off the wall. That is still a caution, and nonetheless, at the halfway point, we are back under the yellow flag, as it's still Jeremy Ashby leading Cody Pace, and Caleb Hall gets the third position. It looks like timing and scoring put him just ahead of the number 22. And the number 2 machine of Ashby has been dominant all night long. Fantastic performance from him. Your former race leader in Chase Robertson has now scored 1 lap down as he comes down to pit road this time around, getting some service in. It has not been the race he's wanted it to be in that number 31. And from pole position has not worked out. Looks like he's now with us in the broadcast booth. Chase Robertson on pit road. How's it been tonight?
It hasn't been the night I really wanted. First start of the race, I was just trying to bide my time. Got moved to the top. Is what it is. Got into the back of somebody, got sent to the back, and it's just been a wreck fest from there. But we're going to try to get our pairs and get back out there.
And saying you're getting some repairs right there, you think there's any chance to continue competing?
If there's a couple more cautions, then yeah, but if it goes green, then probably not.
Well, with how many yellows we've seen, chaos has been the norm so far. What's it going to take for you to avoid the wrecks?
Well, just try to stay in the back and go around them.
And simply put there, just to keep yourself in the game. Halfway down, halfway to go. Chase Robertson, before the race gets on his way, now back on the track. The 31 machine for RaceEBI.com. Back on the way behind the field is Jeremy Ashby, going to lead him down this time by. Side by side, it is Ashby, Cody Pace, Caleb Hall, and the top 3 remain all the same for restart number 8 on the day. Halfway point, we've just passed it. The green flag flies once again. Jeremy going to remain out in front with now Caleb Hall on the bottom side of Cody Pace. Pace knocks himself up just a bit high, but 38 laps through, there's still a lot of time for this battle to continue. The aggression, though, is still quite high as well. These two are knocking into each other, nearly door banging, but Caleb Hall does have a slight advantage. Getting shuffled out of line, Cody Pace is. You can see Blake Thronberg still trying to play into this picture too. The number 22 machine still there with them. Side by side for the third spot. Now it looks like Cody Pace is not going to be able to hang on a second. Maybe third he can keep, but the number 84 machine has not been able to lock in any solid spot, at least for now. 84 going to stay right up high for RKM. Has not been in the race he's wanted so far, but getting that recovery now. Looking for a podium spot as he gets ran up the track. Big, looks like a huge sacrifice. Caleb Hall puts Cody Pace up to the top side of the track. And now it's going to be Blake Thronberg in second. Thronberg's got that runner-up spot as they get wiggling. Now Ross Dalton's in frame for the top 5. 4 drivers for 1 position, all chasing second and chasing a chance at the lead. 84 machine drops down low once again. Maybe there's a chance to stick it deep. Does not take it. And just like that, all the fantastic racing put to a halt. Caution flies. Brandon Kiger, the 85 machine, and the yellow flag is out once again. The 85 looks to have spun alone at the back of the field. That's still going to be a yellow flag regardless. The 51 of James Curl he was battling with was just ahead of him. But you can see as the 85 goes through, gets a bit loose through 3 and 4. And it looks like that will not bring it to the yellow flag. This will. 85 machine right behind James Curl, taps James, then gets involved and spins around to the back of the field. The caution flag will fly all the same. 43 laps in, Brandon Kiger and the number 85 machine is now working down to pit road as Jeremy Ashby still leads this race. And Ashby's dominance so far has not been contested. He's still the race leader, has himself that advantage, the track position, the experience up in front. And you can see now Chase Robertson still down on pit road, getting himself some repairs. He remains down to the bottom. You got drivers such as the 38 machine of Austin Purnell. And as Purnell lays down low, he's still there as well. Repairs still being given out during the yellow flag. But for the man up in front, nothing is needed. His car's been driving perfect. Jeremy Ashby remains up in front of the field. And your top 5 goes as follows. Jeremy Ashby first, Blake Thronberg second, Caleb Hall in third, Cody Pace in fourth, and Ross Dalton in fifth. It's star-studded drivers at the front of the field. Most of your drivers who competed at the front in the street stock race remain at the front in the main event here in the late models. And 43 laps in, only time will tell which of these juggernauts will get that race win. Because now, with more than halfway out of the way, some green flag runs starting to clear up, maybe there's an opportunity to come home with a green flag finish or even an overtime that doesn't end under yellow. Ashby's got that lead and he wants to hold on to it. This time by, they'll go 1 to green, and we'll get back to the racing at lap number 44. The Pitwall Podcast 110, the season opener in the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour, has shown some exciting racing all night long on Roosters Broadcasting. The street stock race, while much cleaner, was a shorter sample with the street stocks, and now the late models, shown off for the first time, have shown their highs and lows. The end goal for these drivers, finish it off on a high and put it all behind them, race till the end, and hopefully race clean. 9th restart of this event. Green flag gonna fly once again, led by Ashby. The green flag is up in the air. And now with Ashby once again ahead, they're side by side for second all over again. 14 machine gonna lay down low. He's got some trouble, and Michael Harden's got trouble in the back of the field. No yellow flag gonna fly for Harden. Looks like they're not gonna throw that caution as he comes down to pit road immediately thereafter. 45 laps into the yellow flag does fly for Chase Murphy. And just like that, the cautions back to back are back in effect. Number 13 of Chase Murphy brings out the yellow flag. For Murphy, battling side by side in the middle of the pack. He had drivers such as Dalton Ledbetter right there with them, and Ledbetter did not lunge it in deep through 3 and 4. As they came out, though, it looks like a bit of contact might have been what sent the 13 around spinning, and that it was. Ethan Johnson rubs the number 13, and that will send him back and forth into the wall. Instant replay shows you number 13 involved in this wreck, and he'll now down be on pit road again. And when we go back to green, 30 laps will remain. With 45 laps into the 75, it has been mostly controlled by Jeremy Ashby, but look at this Caleb Hall machine now slowly but surely working his way up to the front, looking for some sort of redemption after the street stock race went away from his control. He had the lead with just a few laps remaining, fell apart from there, and now finds himself in trouble the rest of the way. It might be a chance to redeem himself. The street stocks might have not gone as planned, but this is the big race, the longer race, and with this in mind, it's all about what he does from here to get that win. Putting the street stock race behind him, he almost certainly already has. This is the one that matters, with 75 laps on the board, 45 down. Now it'll be just over 30 to go. Crunch time is in effect. For Jeremy Ashby, the pressure is as high as it can get. As we look down on the running order, it looks like Michael Harden recently retired from the race. Phillip York, 27 laps down. Trent Smith, 37 laps down. And Speedy Bird, 37 laps down, have all retired as well. Leaving us with 16 drivers remaining on the field, going back to Ethan Johnson. And from there on out, drivers still going are all on the lead lap. As it stands, 45 laps in, it's still Jeremy Ashby out ahead as we come by for yet another pace lap. Now with 30 laps remaining on the board here in the Pitwall Podcast 110, it looks like double file will be put back into effect, led by Ashby. Caleb Hall getting right down low, and the 22 machine of Blake Thronberg is there as well. Top 3 formed up again. Don't count out Cody Pace either. All 4 drivers up in the front of the field have a chance to come home on top. Second row's all RKM machines. Can they work together? We'll find out for the 10th restart of the day. And now going to be 30 laps to go on the board. One driver in the wall. That's going to be the number 98 of Drew Cox. No word about whether or not that's major because he keeps on driving without much an issue. 22 machine bobbles down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to be able to stick it deep. And the 84 machine of Cody Pace now off the stretch. Goes into third, clear as day. Blake Thronberg's got multiple drivers all over his back bumper. The 50 machine of Ross Dalton wants to make something happen. Does not look like he's made something stick just yet, though, as the number 16 fights side by side with Dave Bishiner. Now, Dalton Ledbetter is there with the number 19 of Jordan Blair. Running each other up the top of the racetrack. The 16 gets loose and saves it to keep it under green. It's all about keeping yourself in a consistent swing of momentum. Keep your marks, hold your marks, and hit your marks. Make sure everything lines up lap after lap. If they don't, you're most likely going to end up in the wall. A lot of power, a lot of performance, but if you don't know how to use it correctly, you'll be in the wall just like that. One driver blinking and skidding back and forth on your frame. That's Dalton Ledbetter, and it looks like it's an issue on his end here, as with 50 laps to go, time is running out. 50 machine of Ross Dalton now holding off not one but 2 drivers, James Curl and Drew Cox. Jeremy Ashby has a 2/10 of a second lead. This is the battle to watch as the 50 works his way up high and gets way loose, able to save it quite nicely. 52 through on the board. The Pitwall Podcast 110 still looking to see who comes home for that win as the 3 gets hooked. Nasty hit and up and over. Another huge wreck, and it is going to be Dave Bishiner up and over in his Chevy Corvette. He went much higher than I believe even Speedy Bird, and this will bring out the caution all over again with a nasty wreck. Just like that, the number 3, his race might just be over. And you could see the number 51 of James Curl right ahead, Drew Cox right there, and when Bishiner sent it deep, Drew Cox tried to keep himself there in the quarter panel and hooked him way high. And it's a nasty hit there for the number 3 machine. It looks like Chase Robertson gets backed into it and backed up. Another major wreck at the back of the field sends Bishiner, Jordan Blair, and the number 38 machine all down at once, to say nothing of Drew Cox, who's also involved in the wreck down on pit road at the same time. Nasty hit brings more drivers down to pit road once again, and your race leader, Jeremy Ashby, still remains the same. 14 machine of Caleb Hall is still there in second, and your third place driver is still going to be Cody Pace. Blake Thronberg is in fourth with Ross Dalton to round out your top 5. And 53 laps in at a 75 here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. It's been all about Jeremy Ashby so far. Dominance that has not been contested all throughout the race. And the way it's gone, it's most likely nobody can contest this number 2 unless there's something major that happens up in front. And with that in mind, there's of course drivers that still want to change the status quo and make their way up to the front and take the win from the driver who's had control all race long. You can see guys like the number 14 of Caleb Hall still there as well. I mean, there's also in third place Blake Thronberg, Cody Pace, then Ross Dalton. All of these drivers are very competitive, and they have been all throughout the race, but without the long green flag runs, nobody has shown the ability to make it by for the race lead. Time usually tells, and we haven't gotten enough time to find out who really has it and who does not. Now back on the track, Michael Harden is 9 laps down. Chase Robertson is, he's back on the lead lap, and it looks like it is Ethan Johnson scored in 15th. This time by, making it 1 lap to green, it's going to be the number 2 machine of Ashby. Down low is going to be number 14 of Caleb Hall. Your leader chooses the high line, and that's where he will go. Rest of the field is at the discretion of your leader. So if he chooses high, they go low, or vice versa. It's 53 laps in. This will bring us down with only just over 20 laps to go. Restart number 11 here in South Boston, and the green flag will fly once again. Leader remains the same. Cody Pace, though, going to be side by side now with James Curl as they come through 3 and 4. 55 laps in the books, making 19 laps to go this time by. 84 Machine's going to be right down on the bottom lane, feeding it down low with a 51 on his top side. Number 50 of Ross Dalton tries to keep himself in the mix too, but it looks like right now this is the battle to beat. The number 84's got the bottom side, but James Curl has some raw pace, and he is not giving in just yet. No backing out, no backing down. It looks like if James Curl wants to keep himself in the contention for the lead, he'll have to make it by the 84 with force. The top side is not giving him all too much so far. Not much reason to believe he can make it by, but so far, coming off of corner number 2 once again, the 84 remains on the bottom side, still not clear. We'll see if this is the clearing moment for the 84 machine. That it is not. Cody Pace still remains down at the bottom, and he's still not clear. It looks like James Curl always gets that run on the exit of 2 that keeps him in contention. Momentum is major in a situation like this, and with 58 laps in, make it 59 this time by. The number 51 on your frame has simply not been able to make it by, but it looks like Cody Pace doesn't have that clearing ability. They're both about dead even on speed, and for Cody Pace, that is bad news. He's got the preferred groove, and it is still not paying off all too much to secure the spot, and pressure's being put on for the both of these drivers. Ross Dalton is still there as they come down and in once again. Bottom is used effectively by Dalton, but Cody Pace might have to worry. Another battle in the back of this field. Going to be Seth Dameron there with the number 19 of Jordan Blair. Blair going to be on the high side, and it's going to be Seth down low. They're side by side all over again with only 15 laps remaining this time by. Make it 14 to go. It's going to be Jeremy Ashby, your race leader. Then Caleb Hall in second, Blake Thronberg in third, and James Curl going to be in fourth with Cody Pace in fifth. Then Ross Dalton in sixth. Blair going to be there in seventh as they're side by side all over again. Jeremy Ashby still maintains the top spot on the board. Make it lap number 63. Time is running out, and now with a green flag run in full swing, it could be the number 2 machine who gets an uncontested victory on the day. But the battles behind him are still as intense as ever. This is for 4th place at the moment. James Curl has it. The rest of the field wants it. And Cody Pace has himself 5th place. 5th he's got, but can he get a bit more? That remains to be seen. Lap 65 of 75 this time by, and now Cody Pace sees single file all behind him. Going to be Ross Dalton, Jordan Blair, Seth Dameron, all through and through, coming out of each corner all the same as we ride on board Ross Dalton here. Only a total of 10 laps remaining, and number 50 tries to get the edge off corner. He tries it, but does not make it stick. Number 50 machine goes through 3 and 4, exit prioritized. He's still in the back bumper as he comes through once again. 67 laps in out of a total of 75. There's the number 31 machine of Chase Robertson. He's scored in 12th right now from the pole position on the board. He has fallen down a total of 14 spots. Has not been his day as it looks like the number 3 machine fades back even further. That's going to be Dave Bichener, 13 laps down in 16th as it looks like Ethan Johnson's going to get tapped. Does he save it? No, the caution will fly all the same. 68 laps in, and it's going to be Ethan Johnson who brings out your yellow flag, number 12. 69 laps in, they will hit it. We'll go back green at lap 70. And it looks like it was another huge tap. Look off the back end, or the front end rather, of Dalton Ledbetter. You can see the wreck unfold. Ledbetter going to be right behind it as the number 27 tries to go down on his line. He gets tapped by Robertson, and they go around. Looks like Johnson just gets a huge piece of Dalton Ledbetter, and that's going to bring out the caution. 69 laps in. That's your 12th yellow of the day, and it brings us now to a standstill and a final lap shootout. It's going to be close to one, as we now only have a total of 6 green flag laps left on the board from this point onward. And with the leader, the number 2 machine of Jeremy Ashby, controlling this field so long, it now remains to be seen whether or not anyone can get through and maybe make something work to get by for lead with such a short amount of time left. Aggression going to be at an all-time high for this race, and at this point, maybe Ashby has what it takes to defend. Maybe we'll see a new trick from the drivers all behind him. With only 6 laps remaining on the board, we're going to go to one final promotional break on the day and be right back immediately just before our green flag falls for what could be the final run of the night.
Hudson Auto Works is conveniently located off of Highway 29, 812 Post Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. Our beautiful 15,000 square feet facility is home to 21 highly trained professionals offering used car sales, collision repair, automotive detailing, and the best customer service you won't find anywhere else. Visit us at www.hudsonautoworks.com or call us at 336-772-0685.
And now 69 laps in out of 75 of your returning. Once again, the Pitwall Podcast 110's main event will come down to what is a 6-lap shootout led by Jeremy Ashby with the hard-charging Caleb Hall right behind him, and guys like Blake Thronberg and James Curl still there as well, looking for the win. 1 lap to green, this time by, and if you hadn't been with us before, stick around. This is the most exciting part of the night, and it will give us, surely, a finish to remember. Ashby looks like the caution. He knows it's going to be extended. He'll wait one more time around before we get to lap number 70, and the race will be on from there. For those who haven't been with us all night long, I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, alongside our producer, Cody Deemers. It's been a fantastic night of racing so far. 2 races, and this will be the conclusion of the second and final, the main event here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. The season opener for the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour has given us its ups and downs, but sponsored by Pitwall Podcast, it's been hard charging racing all the way. Now, the final stretch. Jeremy Ashby down low. Can he complete the perfect race and get it done? Let's find out. Green flag gonna fly for the 12th time tonight. Ashby is going to be able to take it deep and get that race lead, but now Caleb Hall going to be on the high side and get himself another nice run. They're side by side for the race lead coming out of corner number 4. It's the number 14 machine who's got that slight advantage on momentum, but it is still Jeremy Ashby who maintains the lead. Make it lap 71 this time by. 5 laps remaining this time through. Top 2 drivers still neck and neck. Take a look though at James Curl and Ross Dalton. They're side by side too. What will they do? That remains to be seen. It's now Blake Thronberg in the 3rd spot. Jeremy Ashby still right down low, but all of a sudden Caleb Hall is a threat, and he looks good to perhaps steal the win away from the number 2. Coming off a corner number 4 once again. It's the hardest the number 14's driven all night long. Make it a total of 3 laps to go this time by. It looks like the 2 is barely hanging on now, and Ashby's run of dominance might be coming to an end. He slips up the track, make it 3 wide with 2 laps to go, and Blake Thronberg takes the lead. It's now a hornet's nest up in front. Thronberg's got the top spot, and they will wreck. It looks like the 22 machine is going to try to take it to the white, but he will not be able to. The big one in South Boston. This race will be extended for a green-white checkered finish. Instant replay, and Jeremy Ashby leading over 70 laps of this race. Wrecks with just under 2 laps to go. And Blake Thronberg with a fantastic 3-wide move takes the lead. Then it looks like Cody Pace contacts with the number 2. And it looks like then there's too little room for too many drivers. Blair, Dalton, and it looks like Dameron too. Ethan Johnson, number 38, involved. And it's so many drivers caught up at once. And the biggest wreck of the day brings an end to a dominant run from Jeremy Ashby, who looked to be poised for the race win. Now, we're not quite sure who will get it. 2 laps to go. It's going to be an overtime finish, a green, white, checkered. So what will happen, the 2 lap to go point will come out, and if we get a yellow flag during the 2 lap to go marker, lap 75, the race will be extended once again. However, if we get down to lap number 76, the final lap of this race, without a caution, there will be nothing that stops the checkered flag from falling at the end of the lap. Be it a yellow flag or a race to the checkers, it will be official. The race will end at lap number 76 if we don't get any other caution on the day. And for Blake Thronberg, that move, it's a heroic one for him, and for his sake, he's lucky it didn't catch anyone else up in a wreck. Risky, and it came at the right time, and now he has himself the race lead. What could have been for the number 22 machine, barely escaping that wreck. Now he's got a chance to come home on top of the night. The main event might just be his at the end of the day, and just like that, we've got ourselves a final 2-lap dash to the checkered flag. It's going to be Blake Thronberg there in first, Caleb Hall in second, and James Curl there in third. 74 laps in out of 76. One pace lap left, and then we go racing as we see it looks like a swap over there. It's going to be Blake Thronberg now holding in second, and it is Caleb Hall right ahead. Thronberg goes high, Caleb Hall down low. This is an overtime finish in South Boston to finish off the main event of the night. The Pitwall Podcast 110 sees an overtime finish as the green flag flies yet again in South Boston. 14 machine going to lay down low with Blake Thronberg right up high. Caleb Hall going to be able to keep himself up on the high side. Rubs up against the 22. The white flag going to fall this time by. They'll make it by to the start-finish line without any other caution flag. This race is official. 1 lap to go. Caleb Hall remains on the bottom side looking for redemption, but he'll go beating and banging. They're 3 wide into corner number 3, and the 51's got the edge. It looks like after almost 80 laps, James Curl with a 3 wide send down to the bottom makes it stick, and James Curl will win the late model feature in the Pitwall Podcast 110. Take a look at that move. We'll show you in just a moment. James Curl wins by 1/10 of a second over Caleb Hall. Blake Thronberg finishes third. It's Seth DeMarin in fourth and Chase Murphy in fifth. Cody Pace finishes sixth with Ross Dalton in seventh. Jordan Blair's eighth. Ethan Johnson's ninth with Brandon Kiger in 10th. Then from there on out, it's going to be the 11th spot held by Austin Purnell. Jeremy Ashby finishes there in 12th. Chase Robertson's in 13th with Dalton Ledbetter in 14th. It's going to be Michael Harden in position number 15. From there on out, going to be 16th with Dave Bishiner. 17th is Drew Cox. Then 18th is Speedy Bird with Trent Smith 19th. And finally, to round out your field, Phillip York. Let's take an instant replay of that fantastic move for the win. James Curl, the man of the hour, gets it done with a 3 wide send down to the bottom lane. I will try to take an instant look back at how he gets that win in the books. The number 51 makes it stick, and what a way to get that win. And as we take our instant replay on the matter to try to find out what just happened, James Curl is a winner in South Boston. The late model feature is his. Before we get that instant replay to you in your top 3 interviews, we'll take a promotional break and be right back in just a moment to have all your top 3 here in the interview room.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And what a way to win it for James Curl. Take a look at this final lap once again. Let's break it down. He's in third on the high side, and you can see now Caleb Hall and Blake Thronberg running each other up the track, and the 51 decides to beat and bang down low, and it looks like the line of least resistance gets him that win. How about it for James Curl to bring it home? And as we did before, we'll bring you your reverse interview. So we'll get the number 22 of Blake Thronberg in first. That's the number 22 machine who finishes third place in tonight's main event in the late model stocks in the podium. Nevertheless, in the 22 comes home third in the Pitwall Podcast 110 feature race. It was all about the hard charge and racing at the end, and you come home third in a 3-wide finish. How do you feel after this one?
It was a good race, man. Had a couple cautions, but all in all, it was a good race. I think not bad for the first race of the league right there.
And it looks like it's a statement race for you in that number 22, putting the moves when you need them, making everything work out whenever anything had to be done. And the aggression, while being controlled, got you up there to bring home a very solid top 3. How was it for you managing your racing as the night went on?
For the most part, I think we went on, let's see, about lap 19. We went on a 20-lap run. I was just kind of rolling into the corner, kind of trying to save it right front for the most part. And then, like you said, the last little stint we ran from, I think, lap 54 to lap 68, I think I was gaining on those guys. I might have had a little bit more tire than they did, but I don't know. I wish it had went at green so we could see how they played it out. And then, like you said, that last restart, I don't know what was going on there, but it is what it is. It's short track racing, and move on with a good points night to the next race.
And taking this points night on to the next race of the season. Now, what is next? That's going to be New Smyrna, August 6th there. Next week, next Sunday, another short track. So what's it going to be for you to take this momentum and move it on to the next track?
Oh, just qualify good and get up front and stay out front. And just, like I said, hopefully for more green flag, runs. And just clean it up a little bit for the most part, and just put on a good show for everybody that's watching.
And a great show it was to watch number 22 battle for the race win. It's Blake Thronberg finishing at home, of course, in the third position. Coming home on the podium. Any final thoughts to wrap this interview off?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for, Rooster and you for broadcasting this, Ross for putting this league together. I think it's going to end up being a pretty successful league. Same setup shop. Like you said, and just everybody that's got a hand in this to make this happen. I appreciate you guys, and I'm sure y'all did a great job up there in the booth. We'll see you next Sunday.
And there we have it. Blake Thronberg, for the first race of the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour, brings home his first career podium here in South Boston. Got to thank him for his time.
Thank you. Y'all have a good evening.
And there we have it. That's Blake Thronberg, your third place finisher. As we move on, it's the second driver in the number 14. That is Caleb Hall. Hall going to be up next on the interview order here. He finishes second on the day. So how's about we drag him in right now and get a word from your runner-up finisher on the night. And as we come through, the number 14 machine of Caleb Hall now with us in the broadcast booth here on Roosters Broadcasting. Second place, hard-fought charge up in front for a chance at the win. How was it battling here in South Boston?
It was great. I mean, I had fun. I wish the ending wouldn't have happened the way it did, because right before that caution, when they had that mess out of 2, when I hit the wall, it actually broke the right front wheel. Not to the point where it'd come off the spindle or anything, or the hub, but it was enough to make it stupid tight. So we came down the backstretch, I think coming either to the checkered or the white, and I was just assuming Blake would go to the wall like usual, and he ended up half turning me, and then we just started white knuckle racing there at the end. And it sucks neither one of us won, but I'm glad that at least someone I know actually won.
And it was a fantastic battle there with that overtime, able to hold on and give it, of course, a chance to yourself, fighting as tough as it was, still there in the final turn. How was it managing that 2-lap shootout?
I mean, getting a good restart was key. I didn't want Blake to be anywhere past my door number on the right side, but it's just, I don't know, the way I kind of restarted it, I didn't have good revs, and I definitely didn't get a good run. So he was able to stay out there, which is what I was worried about, because if anything happened, like when I got tight due to the wheel damage, it was just going to come into him, and we were going to... honestly, I feel like how we finished was probably the best case scenario, but I do feel bad because, I mean, we went off into 3 and we almost both ended up in the fence. But I don't know. I mean, The two to go thing, it was a little stressful, but second, you can't complain too much about that.
And a second place finish, a strong points result to move on to New Smyrna next week, August 6th. Do you think you can keep up the solid results?
I love Smyrna. I wouldn't say my favorite track on the sim, but it's one of them. But I don't know. I got a few people to thank though. Gossip Bus Lines, Ryco Motorsports and Performance, Aftershock Setup Solutions. I gotta thank Curl and Ashby and Seth. We were all in the VC for that deal. It was fun. I gotta thank Ross first and foremost for this badass league. It's absolutely incredible. We got a whole group of people that, like I said, when I got the pole in street stocks, that I've never raced with before, but it's starting to, I think this is it's only going to get bigger, and I think Ross has got a good deal going. It's a good guy running it, and I think this thing could really take off.
And there we have it, Caleb Hall optimistic about the season going forward. A solid result to start it off here, second place for number 14. Any thoughts to wrap this off?
I'll see y'all guys next Sunday. Thanks for the broadcast.
And there we have it, Caleb Hall finishes second place on the order here tonight in South Boston in the main event feature. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And there we go from there. The number 14 machine finishes in second, and our main event winner, James Curl, the number 51, puts a 3-wide move to work and eventually comes home on top. So how about we drag your race winner in? James Curl gets it done in a fantastic last lap maneuver to win the main event here in the Pitwall Podcast 110. How is it? First win, first race of the season.
That's pretty good. After talking to you guys at the street stock race, I thought I was going to be a little bit better. It has, as I mentioned, it's been a while since I've raced some iRacing, so I guess dust off the cobwebs. But sixth place wasn't as good of a start spot as we wanted, and it got jacked up early, got some damage, and then unfortunately got spun. We got all that fixed. We started from the back, and we just made our way to the front. Had a few good outside row restarts where I could pick off a few people on the outside there, and just things worked out with that last next to last caution where like 3 or 4 of the top guys wrecked out on the back straightaway, and the two front runners got together, and all I can say is I stuck it where I saw a hole, and held on, and glad to get the win like I wanted to.
Holding on for the checkered flag there, that overtime finish must have been something else to experience from the driver's seat there. 3 wide, last turn, and you sent it down low. Was there any thought in your mind before that saying maybe this couldn't have worked?
Yeah, I mean, after we took the green flag on that green-white checkered there, the two in front of me got together down the back straightaway right there as we took the green, and I figured there was going to be some contact, throughout the finish. I didn't think that was going to go over real well, but I was prepared to just take a top 3 after the night that I'd had going all the way to the back, and I was going to let them race it out. But whenever the 22 and 14 got into the wall there on the white flag lap, I figured that now was my chance, so I gassed it up, and they left a lane, and surprisingly it closed really quick when they bounced off the wall, and I'm glad we all just didn't wreck. I was real close to getting put head on the fence there at the bottom, but it was great. I'm glad we were able to have a nice dual crazy short track finish there for everybody's watching.
A fantastic short track finish, and James Curl comes out on the winning end. Rest of the season still ahead of us, but the first wins out of the way. You think you can back it up next week in New Smyrna?
Yeah, I think if I get on here and practice a little bit more, we'll have a better starting spot, and we'll be able to control the race rather than having to play catch up the whole time.
And there we have it. James Curl looking to go back-to-back next week. Brings home the first feature win in the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour. And he puts them all for a fantastic show on the top of the board. Any final thoughts to wrap off this interview?
Once again, thanks. It wasn't as clean of a race as we had in the street stock race, but it's probably the first league I've had a little bit of fun at and been able to race side by side with people for a while, and probably a year or so. So I'm glad Boo Boo was able to put this together, and hopefully can show up for a few more of these.
And there we have it, winning the first feature event of the season. James Curl gets it done on the Pitwall Podcast 110. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And actually, before we end this one off, I'm hearing that our producer has a question. I'm not quite sure if that's related to the interview here. Cody, if you got a mic, we'd love to hear you.
James, it's kind of towards you, man. Well, walk me through. I know we done we're done with your interview, but walk me through when you and Cody Pace were side by side there on that final long green flag run. I know you talked about, this is the first time in a long time you've been over to be in a league that you can run side by side, but just kind of walk me through your thoughts. Being stuck on the outside there for 9 or 10 laps on the outside of Cody Pace.
Yeah, man, that was actually probably the defining part of the race for me. You could say getting wrecked and having to go to the back would be, but I knew I'd be able to recover. I knew I was fast enough to get back, top 7, top 5, But when I was able to get there to 6th place and get on the outside of Ross and we took that green, I was able to easily clear him going into 1, but I couldn't get down because Cody Pace was there. And I knew that if I wanted to have a chance, I needed to stay on the outside for a restart. So I needed to pick off Cody and stay, either 6th or 4th. So I just raced him as hard as I could. And luckily he had the car under him. I was really tight. If I would have got to the bottom, I don't know really if it would have helped. I was trying really hard to get from the back to the front, and I used up the tires quite a bit on that really long run before we got towards the end of the race. So I knew I had to stay on the outside, and there he got about a nose or about half a car on me, and I kind of figured it was going to be over, and out of nowhere he started falling off. I think he started getting tight. I was pinching him pretty good, but finally was able to slingshot around him and use the momentum on the outside to clear him. And when we got down, I saw that I was catching the leaders a little bit, a few thousands here and there, maybe 100th or 2. But that was probably the most fun I've had in a while. I've taken probably 8 months off iRacing. Probably this is the first serious actual event I've ran since my time off, and it was enjoyable to be able to race with people side by side and be able to lean on him from the outside position and still not be turned. It was really good, and I'm really appreciative of Cody for that.
Well, there we have it. Great to hear from James Curl all throughout. Fantastic drive, and we hope to see you back again in the podium circle and even in victory lane as the season goes on.
Thank you.
And with James Curl on the way, that will conclude our broadcast tonight, winning the main event here in the late model stocks. The Pitwall Podcast 110 kicks off a fun season of Sunday night racing here in the Pitwall Podcast Stock Car Tour. We'd love to have you aboard for the rest of the season, watching live on Roosters Broadcasting. We're sure to bring you each and every week of high-octane action. This race was sponsored by the Pitwall Podcast. If you enjoyed tonight's presentation, be sure to stick around for the entirety of the season and check out the Pitwall Podcast for yourself. We'd love to have you aboard for the rest of the way. As it's been on FTN, I've always been their lead host, but tonight we come over. I'm David Croix, your lead announcer for tonight's broadcast, alongside Cody Demers, who runs the Roosters broadcasting side of things, for a collaboration here on Sunday nights. If you enjoyed the presentation, be sure to stick around. We thank you all dearly for your support tonight and hope to have you whenever we broadcast live on Roosters Broadcasting.